Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. When I was chased at the beginning, I opened Mangekyō in seconds. Chapter 101. I see. Uchiha Kagami suddenly understood. After listening to Katsuyu Sage's explanation, he understood the secret of senjutsu. Although the three major senjutsu are all senjutsu, they obviously have their own advantages and disadvantages. Mount Myoboku's free senjutsu is relatively the safest, except that learning senjutsu will transform you into a frog and turn into a stone statue. Basically, it is the most suitable for ordinary people. The only disadvantage is that it requires meditation, and the duration is not long. For example, if Naruto meditates for 5 minutes, the magic will dissipate if used too much. But Naruto is also a genius. The meditation time is actually not a big disadvantage, because he can use the clone to stay in Mount Myoboku to gather the senjutsu chakra. As long as he summons the clone through reverse summoning, and then releases it, the senjutsu will be restored again. Have to say, this guy's intelligence is impressive, and he deserves to be the protagonist. Anyone can go to Ruchi cave, but it's hard to say whether they can survive. The risk is too great. Except for those desperate people like Kabuto, there is no other way to learn senjutsu. They can only bite the bullet, but Kabuto, the lucky guy, succeeded. Moreover, his magical properties are also known as violent and domineering, with horns and snake eyes growing on his head. It's just that Shigulin's ultimate immortal technique seems to take longer to meditate, but the advantage is that it also lasts a long time. As for meditation time, you can use Naruto's method to solve it. Then, Ge immortal technique will also have obvious characteristics. Jing asked. Yes, but not big. Katsuyu Sage explained. Ruchi cave is directly injected from the teeth of White Snake Sage, so Sage mode has more external characteristics. Mount Myoboku requires slow practice and is relatively gentle. So there is only the outward characteristic of frog eyes, and the Shigu forest needs to be soaked in my fairy pond and slowly meditated and comprehended. The outward characteristic of Sage mode is that the body will become softer. Oh, that's acceptable, Uchiha Kagami thought for a while, but suddenly remembered something, isn't it right? Then why did my second brother mention to me that Senju Hashirama learned the Sage mode of the Shigo forest, but his body did not become soft? Hashirama's Sage mode is not from Shigulin. Katsuyu Sage said. Ah, Uchiha Kagami was stunned. Katsuyu Sage's eyes were full of reminiscence, and his eyes were full of admiration. Hashirama was born as a sage body. He can absorb natural energy all the time, but he was worried that he could not use it. He also came to Shigu Forest at that time and wanted to learn Shigulin's extreme immortal technique. But after listening to my explanation, he felt that neither Mount Myoboku's free senjutsu, Shigulin's ultimate senjutsu, or Ruchi Cave's domineering senjutsu were the most perfect senjutsu. So he took the essence and discarded the dross on the basis of the three major immortal arts, combined the advantages of the three major immortal arts, and realized his own unique magical technique, which is the immortal art of self-extreme dominance and domination. Quote. The abbreviation is Infinite Immortal Technique. The Sage mode after Hashirama's realization has almost no shortcomings. The meditation time is extremely short, the maintenance time is long, there are no obvious characteristics, and it can greatly increase the physical, mental, and natural effects. Is this the truth about Senju Hashirama's magic? Uchiha Kagami's eyes widened. The whole person's mouth was open, and he was simply stunned. He originally thought that Hashirama was already awesome enough, and that the celestial skills were obtained from the Shigo forest. After all, his granddaughter was Katsuyu's contractor, so this possibility was extremely high. But he didn't expect Hashirama to be even more awesome than he imagined. He actually directly combined the three major immortal arts and created a more perfect immortal arts, freedom and overbearing immortal arts. Good guy. No wonder the eldest brother is so awesome at magic. Just use Sage art through several thousand hands to pinch 9 tails like a cat. Now think about it. Indeed, if Hashirama learned his senjutsu from the Shigan forest, then there is no reason why he is not Katsuyu's contractor, but why didn't Katsuyu be summoned during the Fourth Ninja War? Both Tsunade and Sakura can summon 1/10 of Katsuyu. With the strength of Senju Hashirama, he is fully qualified to be Katsuyu's true form, so that's not necessarily impossible, right? Directly covering the entire battlefield with Katsuyu's body, the healing effect is much better than Tsunade and little Sakura. Now it seems that he does not have a contract with Katsuyu. Etc. Another point. That's Hashirama's fourth ninja war, why not use true several thousand hands? Just use wooden golem and wooden dragon to fight Uchiha Madara, not that he doesn't want to, but in pure world reincarnations Hashirama is not in its prime, including senjutsu is incomplete. Madara later absorbed Hashirama's senjutsu, thinking it was nothing more than that. In fact, it is just magic in a mutilated state. And only the full state of free ultimate domineering immortal art can display the heaven-destroying and earth-destroying sage art true several thousand hands top Buddha transformation. Thinking about it this way, it completely explains it. Katsuyu sage couldn't help but sigh. This is Senju Hashirama. He easily learned ultimate senjutsu in the Shigo forest, and then went to Mount Myoboku and Ruchi cave to learn free senjutsu and hegemony senjutsu. It didn't take long before I continued to develop the three major senjutsu, and realized the almost flawless freedom and dominance senjutsu. Throughout the ninja world for so many years, only Hashirama can do it. That's why I respect Hashirama so much, and so does Tsunade. Understood. Uchiha Kagami's eyes narrowed slightly as he said, in other words, if I want to learn the freedom and dominance I must first learn all three major senjutsu, right? Of course, since you want to understand a brand new magic, if you don't learn the three major magics, how will you know where the dross is and where the essence is? Katsuyu sage seemed to see through his ambition, and gently warned, but you have to understand. The necessary condition for learning senjutsu is the amount of chakra. Without sufficient chakra, you cannot learn senjutsu. You have a lot of chakra. It's not as extreme as the Uchiha clan, so it's not very difficult to learn the three major senjutsu. However, if you want to understand the freedom and dominance senjutsu, you have to have a major prerequisite, which is unavoidable. Oh, I seem to have thought that the prerequisite is the body of an immortal, right? Uchiha Kagami said firmly. Although I don't know how Hashirama understood it, in order to turn on sage mode instantly, it must be absorbed through the sage body every moment, so that the natural energy can fill itself but not overflow. This allows the body, spirit, and natural energy to reach a balanced state, and then the three energies are instantly combined with a clap of hands. It's like a key, opening the door to magic at any time. Yes, you are very smart. Katsuyu sage praised. No, thank you Katsuyu sage for your guidance, otherwise I would have gone astray. At first, I thought Hashirama's magic was really learned in the Shigo forest. Uchiha Kagami is grateful from the bottom of her heart. If it weren't for Katsuyu sage, he would have fallen into a misunderstanding long ago. You are very good. You are very different from the other Uchiha clan. Although your body is full of Hashirama cells, you are not the body of a sage. You need to solve this problem. Katsuyu sage let out a gentle laugh. Only can you understand the true freedom and overbearing immortal technique, but there is no rush now. Before that, you must first learn the extreme intent immortal technique and stay in the Shigubone forest for a few months first. Uchiha Kagami looked curious. How many months will it take? Is Kyokusenjutsu very difficult to learn? What is the specific learning method? It's not difficult, and the method is very simple. Just stay in the fairy pond of my Shigubone forest, meditate quietly, and absorb the natural energy. That's not bad. Uchiha Kagami nodded. Then I saw a huge pool. It was almost several hundred meters high, more than 10 meters high, and was filled with white mucus. It looks a bit like the color on Katsuyu. But the concentration is more viscous. Uchiha Kagami kept muttering in her heart. Could it be Katsuyu sage's excrement? Isn't such a big pool really amazing? Seeming to see the doubts in the mirror, Katsuyu Sennin said angrily, this is not excrement. You, like Senju Hashirama, had doubts at first, but this is all the purifying fairy liquid secreted from my body. Compared to Mount Myoboku and Ruchi Cave, it's very low risk. Just soak in the pool and start meditating. Understood. Uchiha Kagami doesn't talk nonsense either. With the help of Katsuyu Immortal, he walked into the fairy pond. The body began to sink slowly, and the whole person was just submerged in the body, with only the head exposed. Because these fairy liquids are very thick, there is no possibility of sinking and suffocating, let alone with Tsunade watching over him. He closed his eyes and began to sense the natural energy. Tisk, tisk, almost instantly, he felt it. Then he began to absorb the natural energy tirelessly. The intensity of the natural energy in this fairy pool was beyond all others. Not long after, Uchiha Kagami's eyes around. Light blue lines appeared, like facial makeup. The lines became clearer and clearer, and it didn't take long for them to be completely formed. That afternoon, he completed and learned the ultimate immortal technique. It seems to have been successful. Uchiha Kagami felt it up and down. It was discovered that Ji Senjutsu greatly enhances ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. But relatively speaking, illusions based on spiritual energy are particularly prominent, but relatively speaking, the other two aspects also have a large increase, but not as much as illusions. Success so quickly. Katsuyu Senin was shocked. How's that, compared to my big brother? Oh yeah, that's Senju Hashirama, he's my big brother. You. Daughter even more amazing. Originally I thought your mind was like Shisui, so it would be easier to learn, but it would take at least several months, but I didn't expect, your perception is also very strong. My soul seems to be very different from others, so I learned it quickly. Katsuyu Senin replied conservatively, but I was extremely shocked inside, this kid is so awesome. Senju Hashirama also took more than 10 days to complete. He thought that as a descendant of the Uchiha clan, it would be impossible to surpass his ancestors. Who would have thought? This young man actually completed his cultivation in 1 day. And it wasn't just 1 day, to be exact, it was less than 6 hours, and the speed of knowledge was astonishingly fast. Where, daughter, you going next? Mount Myoboku, Katsuyu Sage suggested. Hashirama came to Shigan Forest, and then went to Mount Myoboku, and then found Ruchi Cave and learned the 3 great senjutsu. While Ruchi Cave's domineering senjutsu is very violent, relatively speaking ultimate senjutsu and free senjutsu are not that dangerous. And the White Snake Sage in Ruchi Cave has a bad temper. I suggest you go to Mount Myoboku first and then go to Ruchi Cave. No, let's go to Ruchi Cave first. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. The reason why I chose this is because the location of Ruchi Cave is easy to find. It seems to be at the entrance cave of a certain temple. Of course, there is another reason for doing this, that is, there is a person above Ruchi Cave who he must bring back to Konoha as soon as possible. That person is Jugo. He is currently his only way to obtain a sage body. Zongwu was born with the ability to absorb natural energy, but Nehi could not control his frequent rages, thus forming 2 personalities. He can even talk to animals. This natural affinity can be called another pseudo-sage body. As for why it's called a pseudo-sage body, it's because Jugo can't control himself and often goes berserk, and it's very easy to develop a murderous character. Therefore, relatively speaking, it is definitely not comparable to Senju Hashirama. After all, Senju Hashirama is the reincarnation of Ashura. Although he can absorb natural energy all the time, he can control it in comparison. At least before he had mastered senjutsu, Hashirama would not go berserk if he wanted to. It's not what Jugo can compare to, but it's more than enough for him at this stage. After bringing it back, Orochimaru will study it carefully. As for why not use Hashirama cells? Hashirama is dead, but the cells are still active and have strong vitality. However, since it has cooled down and no longer has the ability to absorb natural energy, it is impossible to obtain sage body by relying solely on Hashirama cells. Unless Hashirama is resurrected, but that's not possible yet. If possible, let Orochimaru go with you. Uchiha Kagami bids farewell to Katsuyu Senin, leaving the Shigo forest and returning to Konoha. Then he walked into the underground laboratory of Konoha, where all the people from the root organization were responsible for guarding the secrets here. After all, for the village, human experimentation is still very unethical. At least it can't be shown on the surface. As soon as Uchiha Kagami stepped in, he saw a man with long hair and was working seriously. And not far away, there was also a young girl standing respectfully. He looks about 10 years old and wears a mesh vest on his upper body. There are also mesh cloth covers on the elbows, and the lower body is also mesh shorts, which looks very cute. And when I see someone coming, the girl stood up hurriedly, feeling confused and cute. Master Jing, you are here. The teacher is conducting experiments and cannot greet you, please forgive me. I know, I just wait. Uchiha Kagami looked her up and down, pretending to be angry. in such a dark laboratory, won't you catch a cold if you wear so little? Did the bad guy Orochimaru make you wear such cool clothes? I didn't expect this guy to look like a serious scientist. I didn't expect him to be a pervert in private. Later, do you want me to help you punish him? It's not the teacher's fault. I just had some blood drawn, so I didn't wear a coat. The girl pouted and retorted. But, thank you Master Jing. It's okay with me. Although it's dark here, I like to accompany the teacher to do experiments. Nice kid, what's your name? Jing asked gently. My name is Anko, Mitarashi Anko. It's you. It seems you are an excellent ninja. You want to be recognized by Konoha Sannin, prove that your talents are excellent. Uchiha Kagami rubbed her hair. However, you should eat less desserts and sugar. If you become fat in the future, you will not be liked by others. I won't become fat. Anko puffed his lips. That's not necessarily the case. Uchiha Kagami chuckled, but he didn't say much, just casually. Anko was very cute when she was a child, and even as an adult she still looked heroic, but in the later stages she ate too many desserts and became fat. Note: Konoha is 51 years old and Anko is 11 years old, which is relatively young. After Orochimaru finished the experiment, he came over and said with a hoarse smile, Dear guest, you haven't been to my place for several months. But you are here this time. Of course I'm criticizing you. Look at you, you actually let a child wear something so cool. Do you have any pervert hobbies? Uchiha Kagami examined her. I'm not, I didn't, don't slander me. Orochimaru comes with 3 consecutive denials. Uchiha Kagami stopped joking and said in a serious tone, Are you interested in going out with me? I plan to practice celestial arts in the Ruchi cave of the 3 holy lands. No interest, I'm busy. Orochimaru refused. There is a tribe near Ruchi cave that can naturally absorb natural energy. I don't know the specific name. I will temporarily call it the Jugo clan. Uchiha Kagami said thoughtfully, but Jugo seems to be the most special one. Do you really not need such a special experimental subject? If not, I will find someone else. Goodbye. No, don't go. Orochimaru smiled. Experiment subjects and so on are not important. If a friend asks for something, I must help. As a scientist, I like to help others. I am very interested in going with you. Okay, let's leave now. Now, yes, better sooner rather than later. Wait, let me tell Anko first. Some liquids cannot be left in the air, and some must be kept separately, don't. Gone. Uchiha Kagami held his shoulders. Forming a seal with one hand, Flying Thunder God disappeared instantly after activation. Soon, they came to the Kingdom of Stone. The place is full of dense rocks, completely different in style from other countries, and looks very desolate. Orochimaru was speechless for a moment. As you said, let me remind Anko to sort out the samples in the laboratory, right? Are you in such a hurry? Otherwise, Chongwu's clan is staying in the cave, and Chongwu seems to have confined himself in order to prevent him from going on a rampage and killing his clan members. Uchiha Kagami said seriously, but the natural energy here overflows from under the earth. It is obvious that Ruchi Cave must be under the Jugo clan, but Jugo's actions will have no effect at all. Sooner or later, he will go berserk. Such a treasure of the ninja world will definitely attract the attention of the bad guys. How can we protect the treasure of the ninja world if it is exterminated? As good people, we have an obligation to ensure the diversity of the human race in the ninja world, right? Quote. Orochimaru couldn't help but sigh. As expected of you, I can think of such a bad excuse to protect the diversity of the human race. But you are not lying when you say that their clan will be targeted. Certainly, Uchiha Kagami is not talking nonsense. There is very little description of the Chongwu family in the original work. However, the limited explanation shows that due to unknown reasons, the Zongwu clan was exterminated and only Zongwu was left as a survivor. To know, the entire Jugo clan is capable of sage transformation. It's just that they can't control it, they will either die from the rampage. They disowned each other and killed everyone in the clan, or they were targeted by bad guys, so they had to do it as soon as possible. And now it is Konoha's 51st year. In terms of age, Jugo was born. But it's only 3 years old, so the sooner it's done, the better. Although the location of Ruchi Cave is unclear, since it is a cave, the geographical location of Tianakuni is very suitable. He is sure 80% of the Chongwu clan is here. After Orochimaru heard this, he frowned and said, but Tien country is not that small. There are only 2 of us. How to find it? It's very simple, just feel the natural energy. Wherever there is more natural energy, there is Ruchi Cave. Wherever there is Ruchi Cave, there is the Jugo clan. Uchiha Kagami showed a confident look. Then he sat cross-legged and began to absorb the natural energy. It didn't take long for him to discover that the source of natural energy was in the east direction, and it was very rich and exactly the same as the natural energy concentration of the Shigubone forest. Found it. Uchiha Kagami opened her eyes. Carrying Orochimaru again, he activated the Flying Thunder God technique. Swish! They arrived at their destination. This is a huge temple, and the entrance to the temple seems to be a cave. Orochimaru covered his head and choked speechlessly. Can you tell me in advance when you take me flying next time? I feel like I'm going to vomit. Definitely next time. Uchiha Kagami looked up and down at the temple. It was found that it was exactly the same as described in the original work. The entrance to the cave here is Ruchi Cave, one of the 3 legendary holy places. However, the 2 did not choose to enter. Instead, they started searching nearby and soon found their target. It is also in a cave. A lot of natural energy escapes from it. This was obviously caused by the Chongwu clan's inability to control natural energy. They had just walked into the cave and passed through the long tunnel. I saw an amazing scene. I saw a 3-year-old child, no, a monster to be precise. Without any sense, he was covered in dark skin and had horns on his head, and he began to slaughter his own people. Kill, kill, kill all of you, ha 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 ha. Uchiha Kagami's expression changed. You're late. No, it should be just right. Not many of the Jugo clan died. Hurry up, stop this little brat. Latent Shadow Snake Hand. Orochimaru raised his right hand. It turned into a python and bound Chongwu tightly. Jugo was still struggling, but he still couldn't stand it in front of Orochimaru, so he could only roar helplessly and furiously. Kill, I'm going to kill you. Jia Jia Jia, only killing in this world can make me feel happy. Kill, kill. Orochimaru was speechless for a moment, curled his lips and glanced at the glasses. I'll kill you, mirror, you still can't deal with this little brat. Nu. Uchiha Kagami's eyes turned into 3 Magatama. Just a simple illusion, and the little kid Jugo fainted. Sharingan can easily control this out-of-control situation. The main reason why Jugo followed Sasuke in the original work is that he is the reincarnation of Kimimaro. But the secondary reason is that Sasuke can control it with Sharingan. To prevent the passive inhalation of natural energy from going out of control and killing people, the child Zongwu is also a poor person, and he is usually a very warm child. He was rescued by Kimimaro and regarded Kimimaro as his spiritual support. But later Kimimaro became seriously ill and died, and regarded Sasuke as a spiritual support. Later, the 4th Ninja War seemed to take control of Sage Transformation. And it spreads with a curse seal, giving Sasuke's Susanna the magic damage. Uchiha Kagami looked at the remaining people around him. There were actually not many, only about 20, one of whom had orange hair. He is tall and looks very similar to Jugo. He was probably only in his early 30s. This person walked over with a look full of gratitude. Thank you both for your help. Are you ninjas from Konoha? You are. What happened just now? Uchiha Kagami asked. I am Chongo's father, Chonghammer. Zonghami explained. Our clan has lived here since we were young, but we have been cursed. My clan doesn't know why, but we always go berserk from time to time, and we also hurt our relatives and partners. Is everyone like this? Uchiha Kagami asked curiously. Yes, but everyone's situation is different. Some people may lose control only once every 6 months, while others may lose control once every 1 or 2 months. And my child Zongwu lost control very frequently after he was born. There were tears in Zongmei's eyes, and after this child loses control, his power is very huge. Even as a child, we are no match. My son locked himself in prison in order to prevent himself from hurting his own people. But it still doesn't work, almost got me killed today. Have you never thought about leaving here? Or living separately? Uchiha Kagami was puzzled. No, this is a curse on our clan. We must not leave or disperse. If our clan dies in cannibalism, then this will be the fate of our clan. The heavy hammer is very persistent. Seems very firm. My clan became like this because it was cursed. And from the past to the present, all the clan leaders of their tribe thought it was a curse, so they chose to stand still. And in the original work, they actually don't know what is happening to their bodies. To put it simply, they are actually illiterate, so they are more willing to believe in the curse. When Orochimaru found Kimimaro, he conquered Jugo through Kimimaro, and through research, he understood some of the inside story. Uchiha Kagami sighed and said, "First of all, this is not a curse, but because this place is very close to the Ruchi cave of the three holy places. The natural energy that Ruchi cave escapes from the ground caused you to lose control. And your family's physique is very special. Its origins can be traced back to the Sage of Six Paths. You can be called the blood descendants of the Sage of Six Paths. Therefore, you can absorb natural energy involuntarily, but natural energy is not so easy to tame. It takes a certain approach and training to do it, and that's not your fault." "I don't believe it. Are you lying to me?" Zongmei didn't believe it. "What? You're Uchiha Kagami. Of course you need to go back, and don't worry about anything. Even if you don't show up in front of me, with my face, no one dares to say anything wrong about you." He started discussing with the tribesmen behind him. Orochimaru curled his lips and said disdainfully, "This person in front of you is the new legend of the ninja world, Konoha's Red Flash and Red Fang's Uchiha Kagami, a person who doesn't even pay attention to the shadow, need to lie to you. But now these more than 20 people also need someone to escort them all the way, but it is a bit unnecessary for Orochimaru to do such a small thing." There was fear and uneasiness. Heavy Hammer was very uneasy. To them, they are just ordinary people, and ordinary people respect ninjas very much. These tribesmen have long had enough of this kind of life, and these are the villagers of Konoha. Don't underestimate this seemingly simple identity. He was actually very moved. But a big shot like Uchiha Kagami, a big shot beyond the shadows, short-circuited his brain. Orochimaru said hoarsely, "I just need you to cooperate with me in conducting some experiments. Of course, these experiments are all in a safe atmosphere. Even if you don't believe in my character, you should believe in Mirror's character, right? However, as the leader of the clan, he needs to discuss it with the clan members. Although their clan is small in number, the Migration clan cannot make the decision alone. And Konoha is the #1 ninja village in the ninja world. They have to stay here every day without food or clothing. Orochimaru, Konoha Sanin. But once there are more people." After deliberation, Heavy Hammer agreed. The other people in the Shounen village wish they could become Konoha villagers. Uchiha Kagami comforted her gently, "Don't worry about anything. Your clan's physique makes it easy to go berserk, but it's not a big deal. The person next to me is Orochimaru, the #1 scientist in the ninja world, who can help you solve this problem. It's just that people don't like it at all. Quote. They don't know why such a big shot appears here." After thinking about it again, he decided to let Brother Tuzi do this. "From time to time, we have to deal with ethnic groups going berserk. Sometimes when the number of people going berserk is small, they can be stopped with brute force." Heavy Hammer suddenly panicked. After learning the identities of Uchiha Kagami and Orochimaru, he used the spiritualization technique to sweep across the entire ninja world with mental waves. No one he knew was spared, and he directly notified Obito through mental transmission. "You have to prevent them from getting out of control at all times." As the leader of the clan, he could only watch helplessly as his clan members died at the hands of his own people. But after the shock, he slowly calmed down, and his eyes showed a hint of fear. "In other words, are we going to follow you back to Konoha? Then, will our tribe be considered freaks? Will we be harshly punished?" Then, Heavy Hammer felt shocked again. Then, his eyes were full of fear and uneasiness. A few minutes passed. Tisk, tisk. Space began to distort. Obito appeared in front of the two men wearing a Jonin vest and no mask. "I've met Uncle Mirror, Lord Orochimaru." "Huh, have you become Jonin? When did it happen?" Uchiha Kagami asked curiously. "Just a few days ago. The teacher not only awarded me the honorary badge of Konoha Hero in the name of 4th Hokage, but also promoted me to Jonin." Obito showed a proud smile. Now I am the same as the idiot Kakashi, I am also a Jonin, but I have more badges than him, hehe. Not bad. Uchiha Kagami patted his shoulder. I have a small task for you. Send these people back to Konoha. Just put them into your Kamui space, and then go back to Konoha directly. Quote. Obito muttered a few words. Why do you feel like you are treating me as a delivery person? Uchiha Kagami said angrily. What kind of delivery? Give away. These people are all talents in Konoha and will be of great use in the future. The others came too slowly, and your teacher is very busy. I can make you come. Where's Shisui? Why not let Shisui come? Shisui doesn't know how to fly, Thunder God. Oh fine, Uchiha Kagami warned seriously, but you have to be careful along the way. The difficulty of this mission is no less than an S-level mission. Your body has just recovered. Afei has not come back yet, so be careful alone. Uchiha Madara is most likely dead, but he has found your replacement, and he also has good time and space ninjutsu. Be careful on the road, and by the way, if someone loses control, use Sharingan hypnosis on them. Understood, I promise to complete the task. Obito nodded. His face became serious, and then he put all these people into Kamui's space. Then he activated the time and space ninjutsu and disappeared. Watching Obito leave, Uchiha Kagami thought to himself, I used the spiritualization technique to notify Obito. But it took Obito a few minutes to come. It seems that Kamui's movement method is not marked like Flying Thunder God. How did it move? Could it be that he is running in the Kamui space? He jumps out when he reaches the position. This is too funny, isn't it? Or, is there another way? He can't understand. But he didn't think anymore and looked at Orochimaru. Brother, are you interested in learning Ruchi Cave's senjutsu? Me, can I study? Orochimaru raised an eyebrow. Sure, Uchiha Kagami looked determined. Orochimaru has not yet been exposed in human experiments. In fact, because of the deaths of Kato-dan and Nawaki, they understood the fragility of life, so they secretly stole sealing techniques. Learned living corpse reincarnation from inside. Not only did he learn the living corpse reincarnation, but after defecting, he also transformed and strengthened the forbidden technique. Not only can he transfer his spirit or soul to other bodies, but he can also split his own soul by passing a curse seal. Many people didn't understand it at first. Why was Orochimaru able to resurrect after being sealed by Itachi with the Ten-Fist Sword? In fact, every curse mark has his remaining spirit or soul fragments. Sasuke released the soul fragments with the evil seal, and Orochimaru was resurrected again. But it was also because he divided his soul. This resulted in a mutilated soul. This was the biggest reason why Orochimaru could not learn senjutsu. It was not that Orochimaru was not talented enough. Kabuto can transform his body through technology. Thus, he learned the senjutsu of Ruchi Cave. Can Orochimaru learn it? But now the plot has changed. Although Orochimaru lamented the fragility of life, he stole the sealed book and did not defect. Therefore living corpse reincarnation has not learned. His soul is intact, so he can definitely learn magic. As for Wan Shi, he did not defect, nor did he have the opportunity to go to Ruchi Cave to make a contract with 10,000 snakes, so he did not know Ruchi Cave at all. What? Not interested in senjutsu? Ruchi Cave is full of snakes. I think the senjutsu there should be quite suitable for you. Besides, even if you can't learn senjutsu, you can still get a summoning beast to play with. Uchiha Kagami said thoughtfully, your name is Orochimaru, how can a summoning beast be without a snake? Oh, then you can learn some. Orochimaru smiled happily. But the snakes there are more grumpy than the last. It's not that easy to reach the summoning contract. You have to be careful. What are you afraid of? As long as you are here, beat them to death. Yes, let's go. Uchiha Kagami and Orochimaru looked at each other. The two of them smiled tacitly, not worried that these big snakes would not give them face. The two passed the entrance of the temple, passed the 3 major tests of Ruchi Cave, and met 3 women in fairy clothes. They are Tenshinjanheim, Ikikijimahime and Sunjanheim. These 3 people are the 3 great snake elders of Ruchi Cave. Each of them contains the powerful magic chakra, but looks very sweet and harmless on the outside. Orochimaru, Uchiha Kagami, being able to pass the 3 major tests in Ruchi Cave proves that you are qualified to learn hegemony senjutsu. Tuanjinji showed a treacherous smile, but whether you can learn Sage Mode depends on the fate of the 2 of you. If you can't withstand the erosion of natural energy, if you eventually turn into a snake, you will be eaten. You knew we were coming. Orochimaru frowned. Of course, although the 3 holy places are independent of the world, we know everything about what happened in the ninja world. Now stop dawdling and come with us to meet the White Snake Immortal. Is it that simple? Uchiha Kagami smiled and asked. I thought you 3 were going to make things difficult for us for a while. It seems that the 3 of you are not easy to get along with. No, you are also a new legend in the ninja world, so you still have to be a little polite. After all, haven't you just come out of the Shimobone forest? With the ultimate intention senjutsu, you are not to be underestimated. Yeah, Tuanjinji said with a smile. Then let's go. Uchiha Kagami and Orochimaru nodded. The 2 of them traveled unimpeded and reached the depths of Ruchi Cave. Then they saw a huge white snake sitting in the coils, with a blood-red bead on its head, and the snake eyes of its eyes were constantly scanning them. Orochimaru felt very uncomfortable, and his eyes were full of fear. White Snake Sage. This guy glanced at me, and gave me the feeling of being seen through. He looked a bit unfathomable. But the good thing is, White Snake Sage didn't pay much attention to Orochimaru. Instead, he looked at Uchiha Kagami, his eyes full of curiosity and scrutiny. I'm very curious. How did you get to this point? Logically speaking, the Uchiha family except for the reincarnation of Uchiha Madara and the next generation Indra. There will be no more people who will influence the structure of the ninja world. Why did you show up? A variable other than fate. Yeah, Uchiha Kagami raised his eyebrows lightly. I have no intention of changing the structure of the ninja world. I just want peace in the ninja world. But since we are walking on this road, it is absolutely impossible to achieve it without the strength. Are you planning to master the infinite senjutsu like Hashirama? That's right. It's very ambitious, but I don't think you can succeed. The White Snake Immortal disagreed. Why do you say that? Jingfang asked. Katsuyu Sage may have mentioned to you that you only need to solve the sage body to understand the infinite senjutsu, right? Such a guess is actually reasonable. Even if you solve this problem, it cannot be regarded as the true infinite senjutsu. Immortal body. White Snake Sage's snake pupils turned, and he spoke hoarsely. From ancient times to the present, there has always been only one person with the true body of an immortal, and that is the Sage of 6 Paths who founded the ninja sect. No one else can be called Sage Body. Oh, Hashirama doesn't count either. It doesn't count. What about Ashura and Indra? Uchiha Kagami squinted his eyes and said, Indra inherited the eyes of Sage of 6 Paths, and Ashura inherited the body of Sage of 6 Paths, so the latter cannot be considered a true sage body. Not really, because no matter how outstanding the parents are, it is impossible for the offspring to inherit all the power of the parents. Ashura is at most a half-immortal body. White Snake Sage shook his head and said, as for Senju Hashirama, as the reincarnation of Ashura's chakra, he has experienced countless rounds of blood dilution, including the Jugo clan that you and Orochimaru took away. At most, it is just a pseudo-sage body. And you still need to be able to control the absorption of natural energy, otherwise it won't even be bullshit. Uchiha Kagami, you have to understand one thing. Sage mode is sage mode, and sage body is sage body. There is an essential difference between the two. Uchiha Kagami understands. In fact, what the White Snake Immortal said is absolutely correct. Many people have a big misunderstanding about sage body. They mistakenly believe that having strong vitality and physical energy is a sage body. Actually completely wrong, including the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan. Many people mistakenly believe that even these ethnic groups are sage body. But in fact, whether it's Senju Hashirama or Ashura himself, neither of them has the purest immortal body. Senju Hashirama can be said to have returned to his ancestors, while Ashura inherited an incomplete, half-immortal body. A true immortal body not only possesses powerful vitality and physical energy. It also represents Yongdun's ultimate. One of them is definitely Sage of 6 Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo. As an immortal, he is naturally the purest immortal body. Of course, there are 3 other people besides him. 2 of them are 6 paths Madara and 6 paths Obito. And who was temporarily given the power of Yang by Otsutsuki Hagoromo, 6 paths Naruto. If Uchiha Kagami wants to have a real sage body, he can only activate the infinite senjutsu and awaken Rinnegan to become 10 tails Jinchuriki. Incarnate into 6 paths, that is the true immortal body. But at this stage, it is still early for him to start Rinnegan, and it can even be said that it is far away. Because even after Uchiha Madara transplanted Hashirama cells, he finally awakened the Rinnegan when he felt the crisis of death before his lifespan was about to expire. He wants to awaken the Rinnegan. Either you can only wait slowly, or you can only cheat. At this stage, he can only build a pseudo-sage body first, and then get the infinite immortal technique. Once you have the most perfect sage mode and the eternal Mangekyō Sharingan, your strength will definitely reach a higher level. Even if Uchiha Madara is resurrected, even if he has Rinnegan's blessing, he may not be stronger than himself without magic. Uchiha Kagami raised his head and said in surprise, "But I'm very curious. Since your 3 holy places have no dispute with the world, White Snake Sage, why are you telling me this? Katsuyu Sage asked me to be careful around you. It turns out that your attitude towards me seems quite friendly." White Snake Sage shook his head. "I can't tell you the real reason, but I can say clearly, you have investment value, just like Senju Hashirama back then. Unfortunately, I have long seen that that kid is a short-lived ghost. But you are different. I think you have a long life. The more you invest, the more you will get back in the future. Anyway, for me, giving you immortal power is as simple as plucking a leg hair for you humans. Why not invest so little? What to do? Good idea. Investment, right," Uchiha Kagami said with a smile. "Then since you have invested so much, why not just invest more? I think these 3 female elders are more handsome than the other, and they have quite a lot of immortal power in their bodies. Why don't you come to Konoha with me? I will give them great power and status." White Snake Sage laughed loudly, "Ha ha ha. Ambitious humans, you have fallen in love with the elders of Ruchi Cave. You want to take away 3 of them at once. This is not okay. You are not worthy of my investment now." "Oh, okay, how about contracting with some Orochi headquarters?" Jing asked with a smile. "That's okay, huh?" White Snake Sage seemed to understand something, and said with a faint smile, "You didn't plan to let the 3 elders go to Konoha. The actual target is the big snake that contracted with me Ruchi Cave. Cunning human, I can let you take away 2 snake. But whether you can convince them or not depends on your own ability." "Okay," Uchiha Kagami said with a smile, "but before that, give us your immortal power, right? At least learn domineering senjutsu first. Can." The white snake immortal chuckled. Immediately, his head suddenly fell down, and the huge teeth fell on Orochimaru's neck. His body began to tremble as the immortal power was injected. "Is this the magical power of Ruchi Cave? Hiss, it's really violent." Orochimaru complained in pain. "But one bite with such big teeth makes my neck feel like it will break. It's so rough. Stop talking nonsense and quickly integrate the physical, natural and spiritual energy," Jing warned. "Clear." Orochimaru sat cross-legged on the ground. "Begin to merge the distinct energies of these 3. Orochimaru's original chakra is actually not much, which cannot support him to learn Sage Mode, but he is the strongest scientist in the ninja world and has carried out in-depth genetic modification on himself. The body is already filled with Hashirama cells. After hard work the day after tomorrow, the amount of chakra has been greatly increased. Moreover, the strength is no longer the same as before. In addition, the Ruchi Cave celestial technique does not require such a long period of meditation, or it cannot bear the celestial power and is transformed into a snake and eaten as a sacrifice. Or just learn Sage Mode, which is simple and crude." After about 10 minutes, Orochimaru stopped trembling, his snake eyes became brighter and brighter, and 2 horns grew out of his head. "I succeeded." Orochimaru stood up, suppressing his excitement. "I thought Jiraiya's senjutsu was so weak, so I looked down on him at first. Now it seems that this guy is too weak, and his Sage Mode skills are half-baked. So, Sage Mode is so strong. I feel like I'm at least 3 or 4 times stronger. I can beat that idiot Jiraiya casually. Okay, stop yelling, we will become horned brothers soon." Uchiha Kagami glanced above. The white snake immortal nodded, but did not speak. Instead, he exposed his pointed teeth, squeezed out a drop of purple fairy liquid, and penetrated into Jing's skin. This scene, Orochimaru was a little confused. Since this magical liquid can be squeezed out from the teeth, why do you bite it? White snake immortal. Because we are all snakes, of course we have to bite. Orochimaru. Then why only bite me? Not the mirror. White snake immortal. Because you are weaker than him and easy to bully. Do you have any objections? Orochimaru. Operator. Oh, Operator. Good guy. You are so candid. Orochimaru felt very unbalanced, but he couldn't say anything. After all, this is someone else's territory, so it's better to keep a low profile. But while Jing was learning Sage Mode, he found his own summoning beast, 10,000 snakes. But this summoning beast, I don't know why, but I have a bad temper. How dare you make a condition that you have to sacrifice 100 sacrifices every time you summon? Although he didn't care about these 100 human sacrifices, Konoha's criminal experimental subjects were in short supply now. How could he give them to Wan Shi? One person and one snake started a quarrel on the spot. Orochimaru. No, not a single sacrifice. Wan Shi. None of them. I am Wan Shi. The strongest snake in Ruchi Cave is so disrespectful. Orochimaru. No, I won't give it to you anyway. At worst, you can go out to look for food, but just don't eat my Konoha people. Wan Shi. Good boy. You are great, then you can find someone else, I won't follow you anymore. Orochimaru. Are you sure? Then I'll call the mirror and tell him that you don't want to follow me. He will beat you up and force you to make a contract. You may not know Uchiha Kagami. Secretly, he likes to drink snake gall soup the most. Wan Shi. Well, then I'll go with you. I think you have a kinder personality. Orochimaru. That's for sure. I am Orochimaru. My favorite animal is snakes. From now on, we will be the strongest partners. Quote. One person and one snake completed the contract. Write Orochimaru's name on the summoning scroll, and Kagami also completes the training in Sage Mode and acquires the second senjutsu. But it also grew a pair of horns. And Uchiha Kagami also chose a big snake named Shinya. This guy is also known as the most powerful snake in Ruchi Cave. He has a bad temper than all the snakes, and he even doesn't give face to the white snake sage. But after being severely beaten, he immediately became obedient. This time, Shinya not only saw how powerful he was as a legend in the new ninja world, but also saw that this person really liked to drink snake gall soup and even liked to peel snake skins raw. You can't afford to offend such a ruthless person. But Uchiha Kagami did not choose the contract, but took away the summoning scroll and Zinya, intending to take them back to Konoha. On their way back, Orochimaru asked with great interest, why don't you make a contract? Although this Ruchi Cave snake likes to brag, it is still somewhat useful. It can also burrow into the ground and shed its skin to protect you, and it is very convenient for traveling. Quote. I have the flying thunder god on my way. As for protection, are you sure it protects me, not me protecting it? No matter how strong this guy is, can he be stronger than 9 tails? Uchiha Kagami looked disgusted. I finally understand why there is no summoning beast in Hashirama. This thing is just like a pet. In this case, I will give it to the younger generation of the clan. That child is just right, and he seems to be ready for Jonin school. Quote. Who is this? Are you sick when you step on a horse? Who are you? Abdicating so soon. Are you not even 40 yet? Ah Fei said. Ching. Orochimaru saw through his identity and said with a disgusted look on his face, wait a minute, the only one with this hobby is Fei, we are not interested. 40 is still young, right? And your appearance has not changed for so many years. I thought you were 20 years old. Orochimaru looked strange. Get away from me quickly, it stinks. Are you really going to fish for shit? Who is the leader of the team, Jonin? Mirror asked. Why not give it to Shisui? Shisui can use it too, right? Among the grass, Fei threw away the shit, touched his chin and reported, Black Zetsu didn't know where he hid Madara's body. I originally wanted to follow him. But the masked man was very hostile to me and wouldn't allow me to get close, so he gave up. Fei held the stool in his hands and was about to step forward. Uchiha Kagami hasn't finished speaking yet. Uchiha Itachi, son of Fugaku. Before he could finish speaking. I'm sorry, boss, I was wrong. Afei gave up decisively. Uchiha Kagami said with emotion, time flies so fast. I have reached this age in the blink of an eye. Suddenly I thought of my second brother. He is still a Hokage in his 60s or 70s. Anyway, I don't have the ability, so I'd better retire as soon as possible. In addition, Madara sent someone to kill the third Mizukage before she died. The fourth Mizukage, Yagura, took over and sent a lurking team to Konoha. I no longer want to be the clan leader. I have already considered retiring. Originally, I planned to let Fugaku succeed the clan leader, but my prestige within the clan is too high. The clan members don't agree with it, and it will cause some impact on public opinion. It looks like he is going to die. But in order to prevent any accidents, I will report to you. The same goes for you too. He was still holding a bunch of indescribable things in his hands, and shouted in a mean voice, fresh shit just out of the oven, 2 big shots in Konoha. Are you interested in exploring shit with me? Mystery. Uchiha Kagami asked with a smile. My skin is almost tender enough to hydrate. Besides, the ninja world is at peace. I have worked hard for Konoha for so many years, can't I just enjoy it? Uchiha Kagami stared at him, and his tone gradually became colder. Afei, can't you tell who is the big and small king? If you dare to take a step closer, then prepare to leave a coffin for yourself. What if Uchiha Madara? Orochimaru worried. Suddenly a wretched girl emerged. You have something to say. Uchiha Kagami sighed. This is the disadvantage of being too strong, but fortunately Shisui has grown up. Although he is still young now, he can also be regarded as a candidate for the clan leader. When the time comes, I will hand over my roots to him. There are no eyes to see the look, but the behavior is full of strong desire and love. It's less than a year. No, I spent a lot of effort just staring at a person's ass coming out of his asshole little by little. Orochimaru nodded and agreed deeply. That's true. You are the boss of the Uchiha clan, and Fugaku wakes up early every day and works hard at night. If you weren't strong, he would have ignored you long ago. You, the leader of the clan, are quite leisurely. First of all, Uchiha Madara died, just a few days ago. Shut up. That kid Shisui doesn't like summoningmon. Fugaku has worked hard these past few years, so this summoningmon is a thank you. Mirror explained. That's another story. I can take care of Madara's affairs, but don't bother me with other little things. Green. Uchiha Kagami was puzzled. Of course he remembered this ninja at the end of the Third Ninja War. When Kurigakure sent out the 7 ninja swordsmen, he thought that Konoha had completely lost its resistance, so he planned to sneak into Konoha. But was directly scared off by Shisui. Qinglian ran away without even having the desire to fight. Shisui didn't let him go on purpose at the time, but because the original Konoha was indeed exhausted at the time, had lost a lot of its top combat power, and had no strength to fight anymore. Even the instant Shisui needs to rush to various battlefields to rescue him. Therefore, scaring off the enemy is naturally the best way, but now the plot has changed, and there will be no losses in the Third Ninja War against Konoha. Konoha Sannin, Hitaki White Fang, and Yellow Flash are all there. Kurigakure has a brain convulsion. Choose to sneak into Konoha and die. Uchiha Kagami was puzzled and suddenly thought of something. By the way, what's the current state of 4th Mizukage Yagura? Is he controlled by that masked man? So he sent ninjas to test us. I don't know, I'm afraid to go into Kurigakure. Afei said awkwardly. The masked man and Black Zetsu are very wary of me, so I can only get information from the underground route network. Kingming is sent to Konoha by Yagura, but it is not necessarily controlled by the masked man behind the scenes. Quote. What about your analysis? Which one is more likely? Uchiha Kagami asked. Let me analyze it. Afei was stunned and said. No, Master Jing, I am just an ordinary poop lover. You want me to analyze intelligence? It's okay if you ask me to analyze shit, but I can't analyze intelligence. Quote. Quote. Uchiha Kagami was speechless. But I am too lazy to argue with this guy. Instead, he discussed it privately with Orochimaru, and the two started a discussion. Uchiha Kagami asked, Orochimaru, which one do you think is more likely? Is it the masked man behind the scenes, or is Yagura having a brain convulsion? I think it may be the former, because if Yagura was not controlled by the masked man, then as the fourth Mizukage, why would he do such an act of committing suicide? Orochimaru analyzed it very seriously. The war is obviously over. Even though Kurigakure did not surrender on the surface, the internal high-level officials have already acquiesced to this. There is no reason for Yagura to still do this. Then it is most likely that he was controlled by the masked man to conduct some kind of test on us, but the specific purpose is not clear. Yeah, it's not clear. Uchiha Kagami touched his chin and said, what does the other party want to test through Chinglai? The reality of Konoha. It's not like they don't know. Konoha's upper-level combat power has almost no loss, and Jonin is more than 10 times more than them. Send Ching here. What can I do? I don't know, but I think we have to do something. Orochimaru suggested. Well, just send Shisui there. Send Shisui to scare them off. No, just capture him alive. Uchiha Kagami said calmly. Since their purpose is not clear, let's just capture them all. Anyway, Konoha is not afraid of war at all. Apart from the shadows, the most powerful ninjas in Kurigakure are the 7 ninja swordsmen. Ah, is it so simple and crude? Orochimaru looked stunned. That's not it. What if we capture Kurigakure's people and other ninja villages think that we are going to start another war in Konoha? Orochimaru asked. Just think it's a big deal. Uchiha Kagami Haki said. We have even captured the shadows, just Jonin, it's nothing at all. I already bypassed the 5 shadows last time. If Onoki and the others dare to ignore good and evil again, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Quote. The two returned to Konoha village. Orochimaru naturally continued to go back to the laboratory to conduct experiments. And Uchiha Kagami returned to the Uchiha tribe and came to his home. I saw Shisui and the young Itachi sparring, but they stopped immediately when they saw the person coming, with expressions of respect on their faces. Uchiha Itachi bent down and bowed. I've met Uncle Mirror. Shisui smiled. Grandpa, are you back? Well, how about you two competing? How about the outcome? Shisui said modestly. There is no victory or defeat, just practice casually, the war is over. We have nothing to do. Uchiha Itachi said honestly. Of course Shisui is great. He has been teaching me how to fight. I definitely can't win. Shisui touched his head and comforted him gently. You are still young, it's normal. When you go to ninja school, you may be able to surpass me soon after graduation. Your talent is very strong. Quote. Really, brother Shisui? Itachi asked innocently. Of course, if you don't believe me, ask your grandfather. Uncle Jing, is what Shisui said true? More or less, you two are both geniuses of our clan, but each has his own strengths. But, since you are going to Jonin school soon, I will give this to you as a gift for going to school. Uchiha Kagami took out the contract scroll from his arms. It was Shinya's contract scroll, and it could be summoned by just asking Itachi to smear his blood and sign his name. Certainly, it's definitely not possible with his current amount of chakra. Uchiha Itachi showed joy and said, Thank you, Uncle Mirror, what kind of tooth is this? The little toy snake from Ruchi Cave can be summoned in the future when the chakra is enough. Mirror blinked. Thank you, Uncle Jing, I like it very much. Uchiha Itachi showed a happy smile. It's already very late today, so I'll go back first, otherwise my dad will have to worry. Go back, be careful on the road. Jing said. Yeah, goodbye uncle. Uchiha Itachi jumped away. Looking at Itachi's cheerful back, Jing looked at Shisui and couldn't help but sigh. It was better to be a child. Now that you have grown up, you won't let your grandfather hold you. It's really sad. Oh, Grandpa, I'm almost 15 years old. Shisui blushed and crossed his fingers. It's still Jonin. If my teammates in the team find out, they will laugh at me. Okay, just kidding, Uchiha Kagami said seriously. Kurigakure has sent a team, which is about to arrive in the Land of Fire. The leader Jonin is an old Jonin named Ching. Go and capture them alive and bring them back. I want to interrogate them. Yes, Grandpa. Shisui didn't ask any more questions. He nodded, put on the Jonin vest and went. And since Kurigakure is an island country and is the farthest away from Konoha, they have to sneak into the Land of Fire. There are generally only 2 routes. Or go straight through Tien country. But this is the border with the most Konoha outposts, and Kurigakure would not choose this. There is only one way left, the sea way. Starting from the sea, we detoured to the Bear Country and sneaked in from the southeastern border of the Fire Country. Fire Nation, southeastern border. At this moment, in the woods, Ching was wearing an eye patch, followed by 4 Chunin. The 5 people were running at full speed, but soon the 2 ninjas behind them fell to the ground, mumbling nonsense. Ah. It's so scary, so scary. Bewitched by an illusion. When Ching looked wary, he immediately concentrated the chakra, and his white eyes, which were wearing blindfolds, had veins popping out, and he saw several Shisui standing on the tree not far away. And under the perspective of Byakugan, Shisui has amazing chakra all over her body, and the color of Sharingan is green. Shisui. Ching suddenly felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy and broke into a cold sweat. Retreat. Retreat immediately. The team member said suspiciously, but our infiltration mission has not been completed yet. Is it too hasty to retreat like this? Ao said in a low voice. The mission is no longer important, that is Konoha's instant body Shisui. We are no match for him, retreat quickly. Yes, Captain. The other team members were also very scared. Shisui's name has been famous for several years. For these ninjas, it was absolutely thunderous. They were completely unable to raise the desire to resist and had to retreat. However, not evacuated yet, a large swath of kunai came flying behind him. Clang, dang, dang, dang. Ao raised his hand and knocked the kunai away. But his eyes became increasingly difficult to look at. I saw several more Shisui blocking the way. Shisui said calmly. As ordered by my grandfather, I will take you back to Konoha. Please do not resist, otherwise, I cannot guarantee your safety. We haven't caused any damage to Konoha, let's withdraw. Ching said in a negotiating tone. It does not matter. Shisui shook his head. Ching also understood that this battle was inevitable. The remaining 3 people were about to take action immediately, but Shisui's eyes turned to Sharingan. Just looking at each other, the remaining 2 missed shinobi Chunin immediately fell to the ground and fell into a state of hypnosis. This scene, Ching's face suddenly became embarrassed. The white eye of the right eye opened again, and his hands quickly formed seals. Water style water wave, fire style great fireball technique. Shisui looked calm, opened the small mouth at a faster speed. A large flame erupted to evaporate the water, and a thick mist spread and enveloped the surrounding area. Ching Gang wants to form seals again. The next second, there was a swish sound. Shisui appeared behind him at some point, with the kunai in his hand across his neck. When Ching was shocked. Just now, you were too slow. Shisui said. As expected of Shisui, you are worthy of being the descendant of the legend of the ninja world. Your speed is probably no less than that of the flying thunder god. Ao couldn't help but praise. No, don't talk nonsense. No matter how fast my teleportation is, it can't compare to the flying thunder god technique. Please don't flatter me. Thank you. Okay, Shisui frowned and said, put down your hand and don't make any seals, or my kunai will cut your throat. Okay, I surrender. Ching lowered his hands. He had no choice but to surrender. There is no way I will lose in one face-to-face. Although he is also an experienced ninja and has a Byakugan, his strength is far behind. Shisui, on the other hand, didn't waste much effort, capturing Ao and the other 4 missed shinobi Chunin alive, and drove them all the way back to Konoha. Several people walking on the road. The other Chunin were bewitched by illusions and therefore posed no threat. You only need to use illusions to fool them into thinking they are your companions, and there is no need to restrain them. I learned this kind of cool thing from my grandfather. Shisui asked casually. What is your purpose of sneaking into Konoha? Don't you know that the war is over? Or, because Master 4th Hokage killed the 7 ninja swordsmen and broke the pot? No, I'm sorry, I can't tell the truth. Ching raised his head and wanted to say something several times. But he lowered his head and said nothing, but his eyes were full of helplessness. But the keen Shisui noticed something unusual, and he said patiently and gently, you can say whatever you want, are you forced to sneak in? We are forced to do it. We can't help but do it. Ao prayed in a low voice. I suspect there is something wrong with our 4th Mizukage, maybe it is being manipulated. I hope Konoha can help us. Oh, Shisui raised his eyebrows slightly. The fact that fourth Mizukage was manipulated has been confirmed by my grandfather and senior officials, but there is a lack of evidence. Unexpectedly, Ching not only realized the truth, still want to ask Konoha for help. But he had no answer for this. After all, this involves the shadow of a whole village, and it must be left to the grandfather to make the decision. Changes occurred suddenly, and the space became distorted. And after all these years, I have been taught by my grandfather. And the bait this guy sent Kurigakure was certainly not for his grandfather. Today I will capture you alive first, so that Uchiha Kagami can feel the feeling of losing a loved one. Ha ha ha. The masked man is not Danzo, Danzo is not worthy. So be vigilant, otherwise with the speed of the opponent's time and space ninjutsu, you might have been caught just now. Immediately, he formed a seal with one hand, and the technique disappeared from the spot. As long as I capture you alive, I can even make him Uchiha Kagami commit suicide on the spot. He keenly sensed something was wrong. Thinking of this, the Urankar book has 1.346 million words. If new readers find it unsatisfying, they can read the old book. Note: the old book is finished. Appearing on the tree trunk, his eyes were full of vigilance and solemnity. Instead, he chose himself as the next best thing. As Uchiha Kagami's most doted grandson, as long as he was captured alive, his grandfather would be able to kill him. The masked man's eyes turned into Sharingan, and he made a cold hoarse voice. That guy Nagato has my Rinnegan, and he was almost defeated by me. You don't even have hair, how can you be my opponent, Uchiha Madara? Shisui thought to himself. Could it be that the masked man did it on purpose? But what's the use of releasing these baits? As long as grandfather is here, they won't dare to do anything. It's not that easy to win against me. But the eldest grandson of Legend of the New Ninja World, two heroes of Konoha, Red Fang and Red Flash, Uchiha Shisui. The next second, a man wearing a whirlpool mask appeared from behind him and touched Shisui's body with his palms. Suddenly, it's just that the person behind the scenes made Ching aware of the abnormality so easily. There seems to be something wrong. The difference between the two is quite big. Shisui's eyes dropped. So their target is only going to be someone else, so who is that someone going to be? Fortunately, he just thought of this. The current him is not the Shisui who was tricked by Danzo in the original work. Arrogant boy. Not only did Shisui not panic, but his eyes were full of confidence and he said, treat me as a soft persimmon. Masked man, you don't dare to face my grandfather, so you think I am easy to bully, right? I will let you understand. But he is smart and cautious after all. He is no longer the young man who believed in others casually. Sure enough, the target is me. The masked man appears. Etc. Haha, then try it. Phantom body flicker technique. Shisui didn't bother to talk nonsense with him. His eyes decisively turned into 3 Tomo Sharingan, and at the same time, he formed a double image with one hand. His teleportation technique is not only fast. Moreover, each phantom is an entity and can cross-attack. This is developed by combining shadow clone and flicker technique, phantom body flicker technique. However, the masked man remained motionless. Let these phantom shadow clones get close to you. The moment the phantom shadow clone touched his body, the space immediately became distorted, and the phantom shadow clone turned into smoke and dissipated. Shunsui Shisui, you are very fast, but what's the use of being faster? You can't touch me at all in front of my time and space ninjutsu. The masked man had his hands behind his back. You don't even need to move, giving you a feeling of calmness and ease. Shisui also discovered this, but this guy's time and space ninjutsu is not without its weaknesses, that is, the range of space he can distort is very small. It's not enough to cover the whole body, so just need a covering attack. Phantom body flicker technique Asatis Claw Red. Shisui shouted lowly. All the phantom shadow clone took out their kunai. And he opened his mouth and spit out a large piece of flame, covering all the kunai, and rushed straight towards the opponent in a dense manner. However, the masked man took his time and quickly formed seals with his hands. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. In an instant, a large amount of water suddenly appeared on the dry ground. The water continued to condense and turned into a water dragon, which collided with the kunai covered in flames and knocked down all the kunai. The masked man didn't panic at all, and said with a contemptuous look, so what if you guys know the weakness? Do you really think that except for the time and space ninjutsu, I can't even do anything? Such an attack is too weak. You have no chance of hurting me. You don't even have Mangekyō Sharingan. Shisui, give up. How about you go back with me and become the grandson of my Uchiha Madara? Are you insulting me? Shisui was furious. The other party's words were no less than a personal insult. But although he was angry on the surface, he remained calm on the inside. He noticed that the masked man in front of him was in a wrong mood, and seemed to be quite hostile to his grandfather. We can even say, in order to deal with his grandfather, he has resorted to any means. Such a person also has Sharingan, and he is still Mangekyō Sharingan, but he has no impression of it in terms of voice or body. Could it be that, are they the exiled Uchiha people? The masked man smiled coldly and said, I'm not insulting you. What's wrong with being a descendant of my Uchiha Madara? He, Uchiha Kagami, is the clan leader. He is so powerful now, but he doesn't support his clan members to rise to power. Third Hokage and fourth Hokage are all outsiders. Even the clan members who act as roots do some unworthy things. How can someone like Uchiha Kagami be the clan leader? Quote. Shisui stared at him with a low expression. What do you know? Grandfather has his own considerations, and he is already helping to start the 5th Hokage. This person is the returning young hero of Konoha, Uchiha Obito. And, who exactly are you? Although I am young, I have seen everyone in the clan since I can remember. I can distinguish them all just by listening to their voices, but you are not in my memory at all. Are you an illegitimate child of the Uchiha clan? Obito, that waste. It's just a chess piece I abandoned. What qualifications does he have to become the 5th Hokage? As for who I am, stop thinking about it, and don't try to delay time. You can't beat me. The masked man smiled disdainfully. As soon as he stepped on the sole of his foot, his figure was ejected. Call out, very fast, and the phantom shadow clone keeps blocking. Everything was twisted casually and turned into smoke and dissipated. Vulnerable, Shisui, you are mine. The masked man laughed ferociously. The moment you get close to Shisui's body, raise your hand to touch the other person. However, suddenly, Shisui's 3 Magatama suddenly spun. It transformed into the shape of a 4-cornered windmill, and chakra surged from its body. Boom! Green bones condense. Half-body Susanoo appeared and stabbed hard with the spiral sword in her right hand. What? Mangekyō Sharingan? You actually have Mangekyō Sharingan too? Ha ha ha, I'm pretending. The masked man's expression completely changed. The whole person seemed to be panicked. But the next second, the masked man laughed ferociously. Chakra gathers throughout the body. The pale white half of Susanoo condensed out, and the chakra scimitar in his hand collided with it. Bang! The 2 Susanoos collided hard. The powerful attack caused the ground to shatter, and a large number of trees were blown away by the air waves. The scene was very spectacular. Susanoo, Shisui's eyes narrowed slightly. This guy not only has Mangekyō Sharingan, but he also seems to have both eyes. This guy, no matter who he is, I will keep him today. Not bad, Shisui, the masked man praised. Your talent is stronger than your grandfather's. Your grandfather was over 25 years old when he awakened Mangekyō, and you were only 15 years old when you were able to cast Susanoo, but you are still no match for me. Really, I don't believe it. Susanoo 99. Shisui doesn't believe in evil. Half-body Susanoo opens her hands. A large number of chakra arrows were shot out at very fast speed. But the masked man smiled contemptuously, raised his hand and threw out 2 rounds of chakra magatama, which were filled with the power of space distortion. Tisk! The moment the 2 come into contact, the arrows were completely wiped out, but the magatama's remaining power remained unabated. It actually attacked Shisui's Susanoo very quickly. This guy actually integrated the power of space distortion into Magatama. He is stronger than the intelligence. Shisui's pupils tightened, and she was shocked inside. He tried to use more chakra to condense a stronger form of Susanoo. But, he doesn't have much chakra left. Coupled with the fact that Mangekyō had just awakened not long ago, Susanoo in this second form was already at his limit and could only watch the Magatama attack. Suddenly, not far away, there was a low shout. Kamui. In an instant, the space quickly distorted. The Magatama was completely wiped out, and the space powers of both sides collided. It actually caused the space to fall into a state of calm, and Obito walked out of the twisted space with a flame fan on his back and looked up and down at the masked man in front of him. "You're the one who said I'm not worthy of being the 5th Hokage. You clown, you rat who dare not show your true colors, I will let you taste defeat today." Chapter 111. Obito. How dare you betray me? The masked man pointed at him and said with anger, "Do you know what the price of betraying me, Uchiha Madara, will be? I will make your life worse than death. Kneel down and beg me to spare you. Stop pretending, you're not Uchiha Madara." Obito revealed without mercy. "Although you pretend to be similar, your Susanoo is white, while Uchiha Madara's Susanoo is blue. This Susanoo color cannot be disguised. A fake is a fake. Goods. You just replaced me and became Uchiha Madara's pawn. Why should you deceive yourself? Project Tasuki no Mi is not as beautiful as you think at all. I advise you to turn around and find the shore." "What do you know, little brat?" the masked man said hysterically. "I would rather be Lord Madara's chess piece. Even if I lose my life, it doesn't matter. There is no end to the sea of suffering and I can turn back to the shore. You don't know how I have lived these years. Why should you let me turn back? Uchiha Kagami, I will let him die. Including you, Obito and Shisui. Today I will let you all die without a burial." Ah, wood-style burial technique. Stab, stab. The ground suddenly surged. A large number of vines kept coming out, trying to strangle everyone. Seeing this scene, Shisui was stunned. Wood style. This guy actually knows wood style. Shisui, stay back. Leave it to me. Wood style chaos of hell. Obito clasped his hands together. Half of the body continued to expand. A huge tree rose from the ground and began to collide with the vines. The trees seemed to be alive. Boom, boom, a lot of sawdust flying. The ground became dilapidated, and it was obvious that the two were evenly matched. Obito's eyes narrowed slightly, and he thought to himself, this guy's wood style is not any weaker than mine. Although I don't have off-phase white Zetsu to help me now, after Orochimaru's technological transformation of me, the other half of my body also has Hashirama cells. Quote. So this wood style is definitely better than last time. And the wood style of the masked man in front of me is not weaker than me. Either more than half of his body has been sown with Hashirama cells, or he has the blood of the Senju clan hidden in his body. However, the possibility of the latter is too small. Quote. The masked man stood not far away. He looked very calm, but his heart became more and more depressed. Is Mangekyō Sharingan so worthless? Even if Obito is there, Shisui is also there. Originally, he wanted to capture Shisui alive as quickly as possible, but in the end, he was delayed until more troops came over. If this continues, if Uchiha Kagami also comes, it will be really dangerous. Before he could think about it, suddenly, there was a sound of space distortion coming from behind. Obito appeared quietly behind him and touched his palm with his palm, but the masked man was not to be outdone and activated the time and space ninjutsu. Tisk, tisk, the moment of touch. The two spaces were distorted almost at the same time. But under the action of the two forces, the space immediately stopped rotating. Huh, it's true. Obito raised his eyebrows slightly. The masked man seemed to react faster. Susanoo condensed instantly, and the chakra in her palm quickly gathered. Obito, you only have one Mangekyō Sharingan, how can you compete with me? Haha, go to hell, Yusaka Magatama, the masked man sneered. His attacks came quickly. He has more combat awareness than the young Shisui and Obito. This time the attack was also as fast as lightning, but Obito didn't panic at all. He didn't even use Kamui to avoid the damage. Instead, he blocked the flame ball in front of him. Uchiha rebound. What? The masked man was stunned. The Magatama landed on the flame ball fan. It fell into calm, and then exploded. Boom. The explosion caused by the astonishing shock wave shattered a corner of the mask on the masked man's face, and he hit the tree. Blood spilled from the corner of his mouth, looking miserable. Not only that, his right hand was also broken. But there was white mucus coming out, which looked exactly like Obito. Although he reacted quickly just now, in order to counterattack quickly, he could only use the initial Susanoo to use Yusaka Magatama. And Magatama's attack is quite powerful. You know, even Onoki and Gaara had to use double defense to barely resist. Susan in his initial form couldn't defend at all. Even when he saw the fan behind Obito, he didn't doubt it. Instead, he instinctively felt that the fan was just a fake. If you don't run, you'll be doomed. Ah, Uchiha Madara himself hasn't told you, right? No way, no way. Aren't you Uchiha Madara's confidant? Don't you even know this? The Shisui in front of him had a fierce look in his eyes. The alarm bells in the whole person's heart are ringing loudly. Danger, big danger is coming. And it focuses on the enemy, and the chakra continues to converge towards the eyes. Obito asked curiously, "Oh, the strongest illusion. What is it called? Who would have thought? And the masked man in front of me. Some other day. You don't even know this." Sharingan was forcibly activated and transformed into Mangekyō again. Seeing this scene, the masked man was furious. "Shut up. What trump card is this guy going to use? Apparently the information is out of date, and it is believed that the Homura fan was taken away by Madara a long time ago." The masked man couldn't hold himself any longer. "Didn't I take this flame fan away? How could it be in your hands?" Of course he didn't know, and Mr. Ben didn't tell him. Before Shisui finished accumulating power, the masked man's scarlet eyes moved. The hair on the masked man's hair suddenly stood up. Suddenly, however, tisk, tisk, Uchiha Shisui couldn't help but sigh. "It's a pity. My chakra was consumed too much before, and it was too slow to perform this move. But this move is my strongest illusion. The masked man will definitely not be able to escape as long as he is hit by it. Run, masked man, don't even think about leaving today." The masked man's eyes were full of anger, and he couldn't help but use his trump card to kill both the two brats in front of him. Obito sarcastically said, "Uchiha Madara fought with Uncle Mirror in Kurigakure. Madara admired him and gave him the flame fan as a gift. You don't even know this. Why are you pretending to be Uchiha Madara? As for these juniors, Uchiha Madara's fan was snatched away, and she is still a big shot. Who would tell such a shameful thing? Did Uchiha Madara lose the fan himself? He was so frightened that he used the time and space ninjutsu on the spot, teleported himself away, and disappeared from the spot." Shisui said, "Distinguished heavenly gods. Distinguished heavenly gods." Obito nodded. "What is the specific function? This can't be said. My grandfather told me. The reason why the trump card is the trump card is that no one knows it." Shisui showed an embarrassed smile. "I originally thought it would be okay to tell a few close people, but my grandfather asked me not to disclose it to anyone. I'm sorry, Obito. You and I have such a good relationship. Next time I will invite you to my house for barbecue." "Ha ha ha, I won't ask any more, just skewers." Obito was confused though. But he didn't ask any more questions. But what Uncle Jing said is indeed right. The reason why the trump card is the trump card is that no one knows what the trump card is. There is actually a risk if someone close to you finds out, because you don't know if this person will leak it accidentally. And for Shisui, there is no way Uchiha Kagami will let him go the same way. Original story. Shisui was attacked by Danzo. Everyone thought that Shisui possessed Mangekyō. How could he be attacked by Danzo? But in fact, Shisui trusted the higher-ups in Konoha. Including Danzo, the distinguished heavenly gods were originally only known to Hiruzen. However, Hiruzen leaked it to Danzo, which caused Danzo to become evil, but Shisui was completely unprepared. In addition, Danzo used Izanagi to eliminate the control of Sharingan's genjutsu, and Shisui was stunned in an instant. By the time his eyes were gouged out, it was already too late to react. As for the most powerful illusion, distinguished heavenly gods, it can silently tamper with other people's will. This bug-level illusion must be hidden and must not be disclosed to anyone. It will definitely come in handy in the future. Obito thought for a while and handed the fan to Shisui. "By the way, give the fan back to Uncle Jing. Before leaving, Uncle Jing asked me to help you, so I took this by the way. It feels good. Use." "Okay, it's a pity that the masked man was not caught." Shisui couldn't help but regret, but the strength of the masked man cannot be underestimated. He seems to be an Uchiha tribesman older than us. But who it is, the mask that just broke is too small and can't be seen clearly. I didn't see it clearly, but this guy has a broken arm. Even if it can be repaired with white Zetsu cells, I guess he won't dare to come here for a while. Let's go back first and report to Uncle Jing. Obito answered Road. Yeah, let's go. Obito pressed on Shisui's shoulder. Kamui was activated and it didn't take long to return to Konoha. Certainly, also brought back the 5 people from Kurigakure. Ching and the 4 missed shinobi Chunin were all imprisoned, and the 2 returned to the Uchiha tribe and reported the whole process to Uchiha Kagami. White Susanoo. Uchiha Kagami looked strange and thought to himself, it is different from any Susanoo color in the original work. It seems that this guy is not anyone in my memory. It is also the change caused by me bringing back Obito. But, even that doesn't hurt. No matter how powerful this person is, can he be compared to Uchiha Madara? Now he only has to go to Mount Myoboku with Jiraiya to learn the free senjutsu, and he will be able to gather the senjutsu from the 3 holy places, and then realize the freedom and extremely domineering senjutsu. That is infinite immortal technique. As for Rinnegan, if it really doesn't work, I can only resort to cheating. It had been so many years since he had possessed the eternal Mangekyō Sharingan, and the fact that the Rinnegan showed no signs of awakening was proof enough that it had been a long time coming. And, it may not really be possible to awaken. Because Uchiha Madara is the chakra reincarnation of Indra. Perhaps this is the reason why Uchiha Madara awakened the Rinnegan before dying, and the same is true for Sasuke. Otherwise, why the entire ninja world? Apart from the Otsutsuki clan, there are only 3 Rinnegan. However, cheating and awakening Rinnegan also requires a method, because the favorability tasks are also randomly refreshed. Who knows when the next mission will come? It's not certain whether the reward is a Rinnegan or not. Just as he was deep in thought, Obito in front of him pondered for a moment and said, Uncle Mirror, I heard Uchiha Madara say. Mangekyō can only exert the true power of the Uchiha clan by gathering both eyes. Is it true? It's true, what's wrong? Jing asked. Then can I take the Kakashi one back first? Obito asked anxiously. Ah, yes, why not? Uchiha Kagami said with great interest, but didn't you tell me before that the Sharingan was given to Kakashi as a gift from Jonin, and you would be embarrassed to have it back? What made you change your mind? Obito took a deep breath and said, because Shisui has also awakened Mangekyō, and the masked man also possesses Mangekyō Sharingan, and even has the same time and space ninjutsu as me, this time fighting this person. I am a little powerless. Quote. Originally, I thought. One eye might be enough, but now it seems that it would be better to have both eyes together. My other Mangekyō can use Kamui from a distance, and can even focus with sight to twist other people's heads off. But that masked man can't do it. If I have both eyes, I might be able to beat that masked man. Uchiha Kagami said thoughtfully. Good idea, but you underestimate Kamui's potential. If you gather both eyes, not only will you have Susanoo, but you will also be able to infuse the power of Kamui into Susanoo. Even wood style is not impossible. Your Kamui is stronger than you think. Maybe you can become the strongest Hokage as much as Hashirama by then. Really, can I do it? Obito was a little worried. Of course, adults don't lie to children. If you don't understand in the future, you can come and ask me for advice. Although I don't know Kamui, I still have some attainments in time and space ninjutsu. I might as well give you some inspiration. Thank you, Uncle Jing, thank you. Obito's eyes were full of gratitude and guilt. I complained about you at the beginning. It was so wrong of me. I shouldn't have treated my elders like this. Okay, let's not mention the past anymore and look forward. Uchiha Kagami patted his shoulder, blinked and teased, go directly to Kakashi. I believe Kakashi will return the Sharingan to you. But you have to find other Jonin gifts to make up for him. I know, see you Uncle Jing. Obito nodded. The space twisted and left here. When Obito left, Uchiha Kagami's face returned to calm and looked at Shisui aside. The function of distinguished heavenly gods. You didn't tell Obito, did you? No, I only said my name. Shisui nodded. Well, that's enough. Grandfather, why, well, do you want to hide it from Obito? I don't quite understand. Obito has found his way back from his lost ways now, so he doesn't need to be on guard anymore, right? Shisui wondered. Shisui, you must be on guard against others. Uchiha Kagami looked slightly condensed and said, Obito has returned from his lost ways now, but Lin has not been resurrected yet. Wait until Lin is resurrected, in case she dies again. Will Obito do something stupid again? It's hard to say. Huh, really? Shisui wondered. Of course, let me ask you. I am still young now, but when I am old and can no longer walk, the top management of Konoha will change one after another, thinking that I am superior to the master, and they will kill me with conspiracy. Will you take revenge on Konoha? I can. I will never let go of anyone who hurts my loved ones. Shisui nodded heavily. Yes, you will do this. Obito will also do this because of the people close to him, and he will even do it more extreme than you. The world is always changing, and the human heart is the most unpredictable. Just in case. Not a bad idea. Uchiha Kagami said calmly. It would be best if everything goes as usual for Obito, but if something unexpected happens, your distinguished heavenly gods will work. Of course, not just Obito, but also other high-level officials of Konoha. For example, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Udatain Kaharu, Mitokado Homura, it's all possible. I see. Shisui nodded heavily, and Jing smiled and ruffled his hair. I couldn't help but feel a little relieved in my heart. This was the result of his personal teachings over the years. He had been taught by his grandfather's words and deeds. He is no longer the innocent child he was before. In the world of Hokage, it doesn't mean that the higher your intimacy, the safer you are. There will always be people who break down emotionally and kill the people who were good to them. Patricide, and patricide are all very common old traditions. Even his second brother Senju Tobirama will deal with him mercilessly if he is unfavorable to Konoha. This world, everyone has their own bottom line. Everyone is happy until the bottom line is crossed. When the bottom line is crossed, it doesn't matter whether you are my parents or not, or whether you are my teacher. As long as you stop me, I will kill you first. It's so unreasonable. And Obito, if it can be used once, it will be used a second time. Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods can effectively prevent this kind of thing from happening. It can subtly tamper with the will without being discovered. There are many places where it can be used in the future. The mountains behind Konoha village. At the training ground, Kakashi is practicing sword skills. Hitaki Sakumo on the side was teaching him and scolding him from time to time. No, the handle of the knife is held in the wrong position. You have to use force with your palm. How can you kill someone if you can't even hold the blade? Power. Where is your power? You don't use any power at all. No wonder my white fang short sword was chopped into pieces by a garbage jonin. Kakashi finally couldn't help it anymore and retorted unconvinced. What's the use of practicing sword skills? I am now Sharingan Kakashi. With Sharingan, I can see through the enemy's flaws, and I can kill people with ordinary sword skills. But is this Sharingan yours? Hitaki Sakumo asked. Why isn't it mine? Obito gave it to me as a jonin gift. Does he still plan to take it back? We have a good relationship now. Obito is not that kind of person. Kakashi pouted. That's not necessarily the case, child. After all, what belongs to others, not yours. Hitaki Sakumo sighed. Back then, I didn't have as many ninjutsu as you. I kept practicing sword skills, and then I got the title of Konoha's White Fang. Even Third Kazekage was amazed by my sword skills. But he abandoned it. Why don't you give up? You also boasted that you defeated the Third Kazekage with Uncle Mirror. What happened? Kakashi lost his temper and put the knife on the ground. In fact, it didn't cause any harm to Third Kazekage. If I hadn't grown up, I would have thought you were as strong as Uncle Jing. What a big liar. It's obvious, Kakashi who has not lost his father's love. He's not that mature now, he still can't get rid of his immaturity now, even though he is 15 years old. And heard the child's words. Hitaki Sakumo was silent for a few seconds, with a bitter look on his face. I lied to you in the first place. It was my fault. I did not cause any harm to Third Kazekage, but I used Hitaki's sword to smash his full defense. Sand iron. I'm not as strong as you think, but I'm not weak either. Besides, what father doesn't want his children to be proud of themselves? He was indeed praised and killed at first. And it was done by Jing Yi, but he didn't complain. It was because although Konoha was powerful at that time, it was not enough to make other ninja villages bow their heads. Therefore, public opinion is needed to build momentum. Let other villages mistakenly think that Hatake Tsukumo and Uchiha Kagami are the Konoha 2 heroes, and each of them has the ability to capture the shadow alive. As a result, the third ninja war later. He fought against the third Kazekage and the fourth Kazekage again, and finally lost 1 against 2, but his absolute strength surpassed that of before. Just imagine, can hold back 2 shadows. Even though Scorpio was young at the time, he was already proud enough. It's just that Tsukumo's reputation was too great at the time, but fortunately Uchiha Kagami saved his face, but the son who thought his father was awesome since he was a child was hit hard, which shattered his childhood fantasies. Kakashi, I have seen too many powerful people over the years, such as Konoha Sannin, Yellow Flash, and even saw Mirror suppressing 9 Tails by himself. It is understandable that you worship the strong, and it is okay if you want to be strong. Hatake Tsukumo became more and more disappointed, but you at least need to have a heart that respects the strong. You are still young and have great potential. But you are still at the foot of the mountain, but you are mocking me on the mountain. No, you are not qualified. As a son, you don't respect me as a father. Do you think Obito won't want Sharingan back? Out of your personal feelings. You underestimate the pride of the Uchiha clan. Sharingan is their lifeblood. Unless they die, it won't be yours. Kakashi, you have let me down too much. Father, Kakashi was panicked, but Hatake Tsukumo turned around and left, his back looking very lonely. He was very sad in his heart. What he was sad about was not that his strength had been exposed. What was sad was that his son had already gone astray but was still obsessed with it. But Kakashi did not chase, but sat on the ground. The reason why he panicked was because his father had gone crazy for the first time, but he hadn't realized his mistake yet. It could even be said that he thought he was right. Sharingan, why can't it be yours? Obito has such a good relationship with him. Can I still get the Jonin gift I gave away? However, just when he was in a trance, the space suddenly became distorted, and someone came. Obito, who wears a Jonin vest, has a straightforward personality and is a hothead when he opens his mouth. Kakashi, can you give me my Sharingan back? Kakashi. Operator. Operator. Speak the truth. Kakashi is confused now. He originally thought that based on his relationship with Obito, Obito would not take Sharingan back, but now he was slapped in the face. As for my father, Hatake Tsukumo, everything he just said came true. Obito frowned and said, "What's wrong? Kakashi, is there any difficulty?" "No, I just can't figure it out. Didn't you say you gave me this Sharingan as a Jonin gift?" Kakashi clenched his fists. "Yes, but at that time I thought I was dead, so I gave Sharingan to you. But now that the war is over, there are also very powerful enemies in Konoha. I must gather my eyes to become stronger," Obito explained. "No matter how powerful Uncle Jing is, Uncle Jing can settle everything if he takes action." Kakashi whispered. "Kakashi, you are wrong to think like this. Although Uncle Jing is very strong, it doesn't mean that we juniors don't have to do anything." Obito looked at him and persuaded. "We must also contribute to Konoha and share the worries of Uncle Jing, instead of relying entirely on the elders. Otherwise, how can we juniors be on our own? Are you educating me?" "I don't." Kakashi suddenly became furious, and there was anger in his eyes. "I think you are educating me, Obito. Don't think that you can reprimand me by becoming a hero of Konoha." "Obito, I became a Jonin earlier. I am the youngest Jonin in all of Konoha. I am the genius of the Hatake family. I will definitely surpass you, even without this shabby Sharingan." "Kakashi, we are friends, how can you talk like this?" Obito said, very uncomfortable. "Friends? Friends go back on their word. Do you want to take back what you promised? I don't have friends like you. Goodbye." Kakashi was furious. He picked off the Sharingan, threw it to the other party, and turned around to leave. Obito took over Sharingan. "Looking at the back of my best friend, I felt a little overwhelmed. Why did things develop like this? I just wanted my Sharingan back, but the relationship between the two parties broke down." He actually thought at the beginning that if he teamed up with Kakashi, he might be able to unleash the full power of Mangekyō. But here comes the problem. Kakashi is a person, not an object. He always has his own private life and cannot always be with him, and the masked man possesses time and space ninjutsu, which poses a considerable threat to Konoha. If he and Kakashi team up, they fail to defeat each other immediately. So, with Kakashi as a weak point, he will definitely be targeted. If he is killed by the masked man, he will lose his second relative, which he will never allow. But he couldn't understand why Kakashi was angry. Kakashi, you are so immature now. Obito clenched his fists and comforted himself in his heart, but I have got my Sharingan back. If I meet that masked man next time, I can defeat him completely and prove myself like Uncle Mirror. By then, we will be one step closer to resurrecting Lin. As for Kakashi, hey, I can only wait until I have the opportunity to explain and apologize to him later. If it wasn't for Lin, I wouldn't have wanted this Sharingan. He wants to return to Sharingan, of course, to resurrect Lin. What Obito wants is not a resurrection like impure world reincarnation, but a true resurrection, which requires the use of Rinne Tensei technique. But this technique, only Rinnegan can do it. Nagato is Uncle Mirror's disciple, but he will not do this willingly. As the strongest member of the Uchiha clan closest to Rinnegan, Uncle Mirror has developed and improved a large number of ninjutsu. He may not be able to improve the low-load Rinne Tensei technique in the future, and then Lin can be resurrected. And I need to prove. At least it proves that on the basis of not making mistakes, if he can win the masked man, Uncle Jing will value him more. So, Lin's resurrection goes a step further. He did this all for Lin. Kakashi, I'm sorry. On the main street of Konoha. Kakashi walked down the street alone. At that time, he thought that he was going to die, which was equivalent to giving his most precious relic to Kakashi, but the problem was that he was still alive now. Kakashi considers himself the hope of Konoha's future, not to mention that Kage has always said that he has the potential to be a Hokage, so the problem is that Obito is also considered by Kage to have the potential to be a Hokage. The ambitions of these two people are all pointing to the same point. In Kakashi's eyes, from a personal point of view, there seems to be no problem with these two people, but here comes the problem. There is no problem with these two people, so where is the problem? And for Obito, with the encouragement and education of various elders. P.S. The typo was not intentional by the author. Why would there be a breakup if we took back a Sharingan? Unconsciously, who is not proud? Kakashi, what's wrong with your eyes? Stop the bleeding quickly. I hurt so much. Shisui, Obito wants Sharingan back, we have broken up. Woo-woo. Sharingan Kakashi has disappeared since then, so is it Hatake Kakashi. Do you want to apologize to your father and learn swordsmanship? No, I don't want to, I am not wrong. Uncle Jing will definitely support me, huh? Obito, you are my best friend, but you never keep your word. Or is it caused by Kakashi's subjective thoughts? Dong dong dong, there was a knock on the door of the courtyard. Shisui opened the door and saw Kakashi with bloodline Madara in his left eye. He was immediately panicked. He is arrogant and has strong self-esteem. Today's young people, if they are not arrogant, can they still be called young people? A breakup, Shisui expressed shock. Covering his left eye socket, he knelt on the ground while crying. Kakashi came to the land of the Uchiha tribe. From a god's perspective, the current Kakashi is not the boy who lost his father when he was young, but a ninja who has been hailed as a genius since he was a child. Kakashi clenched his fists, feeling aggrieved. My father was right. He values the Sharingan more than anyone else. Even if he joins hands with me, he can unleash the full power of Kamui. But he immediately thought of the reason. Kakashi is also a proud person and a very strong genius. And the two boys, one Hatake genius, and the other Konoha boy hero. No, the Sharingan that he promised to give to him was going back, which almost made him feel that all the feelings between friends were fake. Bloodline covered his left eye socket, but the intense sadness overwhelmed his pain, causing him to barely notice it. Actually, we must get the relics back, and there seems to be no problem at all. What a bullshit friend. Only then did Kakashi react. I checked it before sending it out and there is still something there, but if you see the error, it will be corrected immediately. They all want to compete for the Hokage position. Therefore, they started to get serious with each other. Kakashi has not experienced the despair of life and death like Obito. In fact, his personality is relatively more immature and easier to stress. Not to mention the name Sharingan Kakashi. Let a certain Hatake mistakenly think that he is closer to Hokage's seat. But now, you told me you wanted Sharingan back. In addition, Obito has a straightforward personality and makes no secret of his wishes. He also believes that Kakashi, as a good friend, will understand him, while Obito, as a mature person, treats his good friend in an educational tone. How could the arrogant Kakashi endure this? In fact, even if Obito were a little more tactful and his tone was softer, it would not lead to the current situation, but as for a break, it would not be a problem at all. Now it's just a quarrel at most, and the two of them are having a big quarrel. It definitely takes Kakashi or Obito to take the initiative to bow their heads, but Shisui doesn't have a god's perspective. He just thinks that these two people are right from his own point of view. But looking at it from his personal perspective, Kakashi's problem was bigger. While Shisui was treating his wounds, he said politely, "Kakashi, you are not breaking up, you just had a quarrel. Don't make it serious. You are the best friends." Best friend, how can he have the nerve to go back, my best friend? Although Sharingan is indeed his, he has already given it to me. How can a human being go back on his words? Kakashi said aggrievedly. But those are Obito's relics. Now that Obito is not dead, isn't it normal for people to want to go back? Those are eyes and not an object, right? Shisui said gently. That's what I said, but I still feel uncomfortable. Kakashi said. I would like to ask, what makes you uncomfortable? Is that Obito directly angers you, or that you want to get closer to the Hokage through Sharingan, but were interrupted by Obito, so you are uncomfortable? Ah, this. A little of both. Yes, Shisui, I won't lie to you, I have them all. Kakashi lowered his head and lowered his eyes. Ever since I can remember, Uncle Jing has said that I have the potential to be a Hokage. I didn't believe it before. I just thought that Uncle Jing was trying to trick children into being happy, but then Uncle Jing became stronger and stronger. Quote, in terms of strength and all aspects, he is no less than first Hokage-sama, so I believe in his vision. Sharingan is indeed very convenient, but I don't value it that much, but Obito doesn't respect me. He also educated me in an experienced tone, thinking that I should share the worries of the elders and shouldn't let Uncle Jing do everything. Of course I knew that. Why should he educate me? I was not convinced at the time and said that on purpose. Quote, I also want to be a Hokage, and I also want to share the burden for Konoha, especially since you and Kakashi both fought that masked man. I also hope that I can help you next time. But Obito, this fool, doesn't consider me a friend at all. He wants Sharingan from me as soon as we meet, as if I covet his Sharingan. I don't care, I will never talk to him again. Quote. Shisui suddenly understood after hearing this. It seems that the contradiction in the matter has been completely clear. In fact, these two people are just at odds with each other. They both care about face and don't want to be tactful. As long as one party bows his head, it will be fine. But now, looking at Kakashi's appearance, he thought there was nothing he could do. So Shisui smiled and pretended to be angry. Obito is really not a friend enough. Even if Sharingan is his, how can he ask for it at the first word? It's really inappropriate. I'll find Obito to apologize to you tomorrow. I don't want his apology. I don't care. What a bullshit friend. I'll never talk to him again anyway. Kakashi curled his lips in disdain. But the two fingers rubbed left and right, showing that he didn't mean what he said. Shisui smiled and hugged his shoulders. Okay, Obito has such a character, what can I say? He never has a brain, why bother with him? Wait until I ask him to apologize to you. Just make up, for the sake of me and my grandfather, okay? This. Kakashi tilted his head proudly. Okay, but I only forgive him for the sake of Uncle Jing and you. It has nothing to do with his own apology. Yes, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's have lunch together. My mother made octopus balls. Don't you like them? Shisui said gently. Isn't this bad? You're all here, let's eat together. I almost forgot. I originally planned to complain to Uncle Jing. Where is Uncle Jing? Kakashi scratched his head. My grandfather has gone to see Lord Jiraiya. He is going to Mount Myoboku. It will probably take a few days. Shisui explained. Okay, let's eat first. Aha, the two of them just held each other's back. Went in to have dinner together and had a good time with Shisui's parents. Kakashi's eye sockets were naturally healed. Shisui learned many ninjutsu from Kakashi, including top medical ninjutsu, such as healing jutsu and so on. But this time, it seemed like a simple quarrel. But in fact, if handled improperly, it can easily cause psychological problems for a person. In a serious case, it is not impossible for Kakashi to become black. Although Shisui does not have God's vision, he has a delicate personality and can observe the characteristics of each person's personality, thus temporarily solving this problem from Obito's apology. It can even be said that a dark situation has been saved. But all this, Kagami, who had not yet set out for Mount Myoboku, was completely unaware. On the contrary, he and a certain Mount Myoboku sage seemed to have some problems. At Jiraiya's house, Jing went straight to the point and said, Jiraiya, I want to go to Mount Myoboku. Can you take me there? Of course, but, Jiraiya narrowed his eyes and asked, I heard that you and Tsunade are together. Uchiha Kagami nodded. We are friends, I won't lie to you, we did get together, probably just a few days ago. What? Jiraiya was confused. It was like a bolt from the blue, and Flax was stunned for a moment. Jiraiya's eyes were complicated, with shock, surprise and slight sadness, but he was an adult after all. After a while, Jiraiya took a deep breath and said, Is it the time you drank with Tsunade at your birthday party last time? Yes, she pretended to be drunk. Did she confess to you? You know her very well, Tsunade did this, and I agreed. Jiraiya was full of regret, shook his head and said helplessly, I said drinking would make things worse. If I had known it, I wouldn't have drank. No, it's useless. Tsunade had planned it for a long time. She got me drunk as soon as she came to the table, just for don't let me cause trouble. You seem. How to put it? Jing was a little surprised. Do you think I should be angry, knowing that I like Tsunade and still being with Tsunade? Hey, I'm not a child anymore. Jiraiya took a sip of wine, pretending to laugh carefree and said, I know very well that Tsunade would not like me even without you, because she treats me as a lifelong friend, and I have no chance. Haha, actually this is pretty good, isn't it? Ah, you see it very clearly. Uchiha Kagami looked at him. Jiraiya smiled freely, but he was still sad in his heart. As a friend, he could only pat him on the shoulder to express comfort, but there was nothing else he could say. Actually, in the original novel, does Tsunade like Jiraiya? Many people think Jiraiya is bitter and want Tsunade and Jiraiya to be together. But emotionally they have to like each other. Jiraiya has indeed liked Tsunade since childhood, but Tsunade has no such feelings for Jiraiya. The two are childhood sweethearts. Even as he got older, Tsunade could never forget Kato-dan who died in his arms. You ask Tsunade to choose to accept Jiraiya, which is actually very difficult. It cannot be done out of personal feelings or friendship. And what about Jiraiya? In fact, I have seen through this. Therefore, in the original work, he never expressed his feelings from beginning to end. It wasn't that he didn't want to be with Tsunade, but he knew that if he told her, the two of them might not even be friends. And Jiraiya, I would rather stay with Tsunade as friends for the rest of my life. Nor was he willing to let his confession cause the relationship between the two to become tense, especially after Orochimaru defected. Sannin became a second nin. Jiraiya cherishes his relationship with Tsunade even more. He doesn't want to embarrass the woman he likes because of his feelings, nor does he want them to be strangers from now on. This is Jiraiya's journey. But now, the plot has changed. Is it possible that Tsunade likes Jiraiya at all? There's a slight chance but not much, because even though Kato-dan and Tsunade didn't have a relationship, Tsunade still regarded Jiraiya as a friend. Why? Simply put, Jiraiya cannot attract Tsunade. Because we are so familiar with each other since childhood, we can't let go. But then again, Jing had no idea. Why did Tsunade suddenly like himself? Although Tsunade explained the reasons and personal charm of Nawaki, he did not believe that it was only these. Then, Uchiha Kagami said curiously, It seems, you have known for a long time that Tsunade has been planning for a long time. Why does she have a crush on me? I mean a specific point in time, is it recently? Or some other time? Quote. You didn't know that, not recently. Jiraiya smiled and explained. Tsunade has had a crush on you a long time ago. In fact, the first time you had a quarrel with Mr. Second Generation was when you had a quarrel. The Anbu actually heard that quarrel. You said you wanted to break the unspoken rules of war. You would rather make the major ninja villages surrender on your own than let the young ninjas lose their lives in vain. Huh, so early, wasn't that? 14 years ago. Uchiha Kagami was surprised. Yeah, actually it might be a little later. Jiraiya couldn't help but sigh. Actually, at the time, we all thought you were bragging about ending the war by yourself. Only first Hokage-sama could do this kind of thing, and since you were young at the time, Tsunade actually thought you were too crazy. Quote. But within a few months, you went to the battlefield to save Hitaki Tsukumo, defeated the third Kazekage, the third Tsuchikage and the third Raikage one after another, and captured them alive. Sunagakur was the first to surrender, and the war was basically over at the end of the year. Quote. Speak the truth. So that's it, it seems everything has a cause and effect. The two chatted like this until late into the night, but they didn't rush to Mount Myoboku. Instead, they went to the bathhouse arm in arm. No, if you don't want to see it, why don't you let others see it? The two of them just turned left and right and came to Konoha Center Street. Well, I'll take you to a good place. Yes I do. Where to go? Uchiha Kagami sold it out. Of course it's to keep Orochimaru from going against the grain. Jiraiya was speechless for a moment. Besides, I'm a Sannin, how could I be discovered? The most I can do is to be discovered by Tsunade, and get beaten up. Anyway, I'm used to it, so it doesn't matter. When the intelligence came back, we thought the intelligence department was talking nonsense. Later, when you brought back the photos, I realized that you really did it. Tsunade later died because of the sacred tree, but you protected more people. Young ninjas. It has to be you, not many people dare to say this. Awesome, Uchiha Kagami explained patiently. Even now, you two are not very willing to accept human experiments. If it were you two as Hokage, wouldn't it be stopped? I think there is a high probability that it will be. Uchiha Kagami explained. No, this is built with my wood-style high-rise building technique. It is extremely strong, it is impossible for it to collapse. Ah, how is that possible? Well, what you said makes sense. Even if you don't, Sarutobi Hiruzen won't agree, so I can only prevent Hiruzen from inheriting the position of Hokage, and people like Danzo will definitely use experiments to fulfill their ambitions, and defecting is inevitable. Tsunade's liking for you is not unfounded, it's all well-founded. You'll know when you go. Jiraiya also wanted to peek into the women's bathhouse next door. Jiraiya scratched his head and said awkwardly, but you just say that second Hokage has no moral bottom line, isn't it bad? This is what made Tsunade fall in love with you. Orochimaru got in touch with you and was recommended by you to become the third Hokage, and because of your recommendation, we successfully obtained the title of Konoha Sannin. Needless to say, your subsequent achievements have become a new legend in the ninja world. In addition, you promised to resurrect Nawaki and use a special technique to achieve true resurrection. If others would never believe it, but along the way everyone who comes to Konoha believes in you. Understood. Don't be like this. You are also a Konoha Sannin after all. You peeked at a woman taking a shower. How bad is it to spread the word? This is the most prosperous low-end area of Konoha, and it is also the most prominent place for business and entertainment, and the most prominent one is the 8-story high-rise building in the middle. Yes, do you really want to hear it? Jing asked back. But he was stopped by Jing Jungi. It doesn't matter. Anyway, my second brother is dead. Even if he survives, I'm not afraid. He can't beat me now. Jing very rogue said. Why is it impossible? You know Orochimaru's character best. His human experimentation is not accepted by the village, and the only person who can truly accept it is the second brother who has no moral bottom line. Well, that is Senju Tobarama. Jiraiya gave him a thumbs up. It's such a tall building. Isn't this wooden building going to collapse? Jiraiya exclaimed. Jiraiya asked curiously, but I'm curious, why did you recommend Orochimaru to be the third Hokage? Tsunade and I are not interested in this position. I'm just asking, Besides his personal ability, are there any other reasons? Uchiha Kagami understands. What the hell? Wood-style high-rise building technique. Jiraiya was confused. It's the wood style used to build buildings. You can build a building as tall as you want on the ground. We originally wanted to build a 20-story building. But the public couldn't accept it for the time being, so we had to build an 8-story building first. Jing shrugged his shoulders. Are you so extravagant, using wood style to build a building? That's all you can do? Jiraiya was amazed. The two of them just walked in, and the greeters outside the door immediately shouted enthusiastically. You two gentlemen, please come inside. Konoha's White Fang Jinin welcomes you and wishes you a happy bath. Quote. Jiraiya was confused. Before I could react, someone led the way to the second floor. He personally took off their clothes and put on bathrobes and slippers, and there was a hot bath here. After the two of them took a shower. When we arrived on the third floor, they were all private rooms. Of course, there are private rooms for one person and two people. They are two people, and they are all lying on their own massage tables. Okay, come on, master. Jing clapped his hands. Immediately, rows of beauties walked in. Each one of them was very eye-catching, and although they wore a lot of clothes, the professional skirts on their lower bodies were not long, revealing their long black stockings. The upper body is also in professional attire, but the pectoralis major is very broad. Uchiha Kagami. Take your pick, just pick any technician. These are all top-notch ones. Each one costs 990 taels. Jiraiya. Choose one. Can two be okay? Uchiha Kagami. That's okay, I'm not short of money. Thank you, brother. Jiraiya is greedy. My mouth is almost watering. In the old world of Hokage, there aren't many entertainment venues at all. This series of beauties with black stockings made Jiraiya feel happy, and as the technician began to massage her intimately, Jiraiya was quickly defeated. Oh, not bad, not bad. The strength is just right and the technique is great. While Jiraiya was enjoying it, he said, it's such a good entertainment place, why did you just ask me to come here now? You really are not a brother. Konoha's White Fang Jin Han has just opened. You are our first customer. Isn't that interesting enough? Jing rolled his eyes. Holy shit, is this property yours? Jiraiya was shocked. Well, to be precise, it's the Uchiha clan's property, but as the clan leader, I get the most dividends. There are many entertainment industries like this, such as Konoha Mishue Milk Tea Shop, Ring Mall, etc. Uchiha Kagami said slowly. But they are all prototypes of the industry for the time being, they need to be fermented slowly. Although these are service industries, they will help develop the good reputation of the Uchiha family. No, is it convenient to talk about this here? Jiraiya glanced at the female technician behind her. Of course, these technicians are all girls from the Uchiha clan. Why is it inconvenient? Jing said bluntly. Ah, you let them do this. You Uchiha clan are so arrogant, can you really do it? Will you press and hold me and strangle me to death? Jiraiya muttered. Do you think there is something wrong with the Uchiha clan? Those who are more arrogant are those with Sharingan, and the Uchiha clan has a huge base, ordinary people account for a large part, and their personalities are normal. Uchiha Kagami rolled her eyes at him. Look at you, even the dignified Konoha Sannin has mistakenly thought that the Uchiha clan is not easy to contact, let alone ordinary villagers. But don't be in a hurry. After all, Minato has just taken office not long ago, so he needs to take his time. No. Why did you do this? To make the village accept Uchiha. It's not necessary, right? With your prestige in the village, they don't really hate the Uchiha clan anymore. Jiraiya didn't understand. I know, but that's not enough. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. In the future, I will push Obito to be the 5th Hokage. The 4th Ninja War will break out sooner or later. But I can't take care of the entire battlefield. Obito's double Mangekyō can be defeated just like me. Film. As for the Uchiha family, I don't need to tell you how difficult it is to become a Hokage. In fact, it would be very easy for me, but I'm not interested in this position, and Obito is too young and needs time to cultivate for the time being. Quote. And this time, is just enough time for the village to accept Uchiha and accept an Uchiha boy hero as Hokage. Therefore, the reputation of the Uchiha family needs to be changed. These entertainment venues play this role and make a little money by the way. I see, you are really smart, Jiraiya said. He also roughly understood the other party's intention. Most of the Uchiha clan are normal people, but those with extreme personalities have joined the root organization and have rights but do not conflict with the village. And other ordinary people in Uchiha can change the impression of villagers. In addition, Obito is a young hero of Konoha and was awarded the Hero Medal by the 4th Hokage. All these factors combined are enough for the Uchiha clan to become a Hokage. And the internal strife within the Uchiha clan will be completely gone. After all, except for a few elders who were imprisoned in prison, there are still many radicals who believe that the Uchiha clan should seize power in the Hokage. Now that the 5th Hokage is Obito, it has solved its internal problems. It can be said that it accomplishes multiple things with one stone. The two enjoyed it until early morning and early the next morning. Jiraiya took Uchiha Kagami to Mount Myoboku and learned free senjutsu in just 3 days. As for Mount Myoboku's Toad Sage, I also talked to him about something other than destiny, but unlike White Snake Immortal, Toad Sage talked about fate. It didn't invest anything in him, it just made him think twice before taking action. Now, he has mastered the 3 great magical arts. I returned home that afternoon and sat cross-legged on the futon. He entered a meditative state where he felt the natural energy. Soon, red and blue eyeshadow appeared around his eyes. But the next second, he felt the 3 kinds of energy starting to flow around in his body. An indescribable obstacle came to my mind, and the faces of Free Immortal Technique and Ultimate Intention Immortal Technique all disappeared. Hiss, it hurts a little. A trace of blood spilled from the corner of Uchiha Kagami's mouth, and she couldn't help but feel troubled in her heart. Although these 3 major senjutsu seem simple to learn, even the mildest Ultimate Intention Senjutsu and the mediocre Free Senjutsu have considerable conflicts. Quote, not to mention Ruchi Cave's violent domineering senjutsu. The 3 types of magic have different emphases, and at least a balance must be achieved first. After reaching a balance, you can slowly take the essence and discard the dross. But if you really want to completely integrate the 3 major magic arts, it will probably take at least a few years. The difficulty of this, I'm afraid even Hashirama spent a lot of time at that time. It's too slow, it's too long and I can't wait. Uchiha Kagami was thinking secretly in his heart, and suddenly his eyes lit up. Wait, why don't I cheat? Infinite Senjutsu is not a process from scratch, but a technique that has been created by Hashirama. As long as Big Brother gives me verbal guidance, under the aura of Ninja Professor and Forbidden Technique Master, I will definitely learn Infinite Immortal Technique according to logic. Well, I am really a genius. Haha. Don't worry, that's pure stupidity. Resurrect Hashirama in advance. Quote. Uchiha Kagami thought to himself. However, in order to activate the free Ge domineering senjutsu instantly, you only need to obtain the pseudo sage body first, so before resurrecting the Big Brother, you have to find Orochimaru. The Chongwu family has been bringing it back for several days. There should be some results, right? Then, he made a seal with one hand. Put your index and middle fingers together to activate the Flying Thunder God technique. Arriving at the underground laboratory in Konoha, Enko and Orochimaru were startled the moment they first appeared. I've met Mr. Mirror, Enko said cautiously. Orochimaru patted his chest and abdomen and said speechlessly, before you come to my place, can you say hello? Why don't you knock on the door? If you encounter me busy doing experiments, are you responsible if it fails? If you fail, try again. You are the #1 scientist in the ninja world. What does one failure mean? Jing boasted with a smile. Ahem, the #1 scientist in the ninja world, that's what I said. But you should say hello at least, otherwise my little heart won't be able to bear it. Orochimaru suddenly blushed. He really wouldn't take this title seriously if it were used as a compliment by others. But switching to a mirror does give me a small sense of satisfaction. After all, this person usually doesn't praise others. If he praises it, it must be the truth. Definitely next time, haha. Uchiha Kagami said with a solemn expression, I'm here to ask you about the progress of the experiment. Has the Jugo clan's physique been researched? I need to get the pseudo-immortal body as soon as possible. How can it be so fast? It's only been a few days. Orochimaru complained. But you are the #1 scientist in the ninja world, and you don't have enough time these days. Tell me in detail, what are the difficulties in research? I don't understand even if I tell you. Well, let me explain to you briefly. The pseudo-immortal body of the Zongwu clan can absorb natural energy involuntarily. With a slight improvement in this physique, it can be controlled freely. Quote. Orochimaru frowned and said, but the difficulty is how to transfer this constitution to your body. This requires deeper genetic research. The difficulty is completely different from the previous Hashirama Cell Perfect Potion. Oh, let me help you, Jing said with a smile. Help me. Orochimaru couldn't help but laugh. How can you help me? You don't even know the basics of science. Do you know what genetic modification is? Do you know what rejection is? These are big problems that need to be solved. I know, I won't, but I am your mascot. Wasn't it me who developed the Hashirama Cell Perfect Potion by your side last time? This time with me. I guess it will be completed soon. Yes, Jing said with a smile. Are you serious? Seriously, let's do it. Okay, I don't know what you are talking about, but I'll give it a try first. Orochimaru chose to believe in Uchiha Kagami. Then the experiment began, conducting in-depth research on the cells of the Zongwu family. The subject matter of the research was all the main tissues of the body such as blood, skin, bone marrow, hair, and brain cells. As a serious scientist, he cannot let go of every organization and ensures that he can extract the pseudo-immortal body. Soon, Orochimaru went into work mania mode. Why? There is still rejection after the cells are transplanted into the body. This rejection reaction is completely different from the previous Hashirama cells. It's very mysterious. Ha ha ha, I understand, it turns out that this is the secret of the immortal body, ha ha. If you do this, the rejection will disappear. I succeeded. 3 days later, Orochimaru laughed maniacally. He let out a villain-like laugh. That's when, suddenly, a mechanical prompt sounded in Jing's mind. Ding, system hint. Ninja World Science, the halo characteristic is activated. This scientific research is in line with the logical theory. The potion will definitely be successfully tested on the host. Orochimaru, you're a genius. Give it to me. Ah. Orochimaru was stunned. Don't we need to find a few experimental subjects? No, I believe in your scientific attainments, this must be a success. No, isn't this too rigorous? Rest assured. Uchiha Kagami patted his shoulder. He immediately took the potion and began to inject it into his body, slowly flowing in with the green potion. It was accompanied by a burst of pain. Uchiha Kagami exhaled a breath of turbid air and felt the natural energy being continuously sucked into his body. If it were anyone else, he would have gone berserk. But Kagami's willpower was tenacious and he could control it casually. Can be in unconscious and conscious. Freely switch between two ways of absorbing natural energy. Succeeded. Did you get pseudo-immortal body? Orochimaru said excitedly. Successful, Orochimaru. You are worthy of being the #1 scientist in the ninja world. This potion perfectly allowed me to have the pseudo-sage body. Uchiha Kagami felt it for a while and praised him. The Jugo clan's physique is the closest to Senju Hashirama. I can already feel the natural energy, it is constantly being inhaled into the body. Well done. You're welcome, but, Orochimaru asked curiously, why are you so anxious? What happened? I am too slow to re-study the 3 great senjutsu on my own, so I plan to resurrect Senju Hashirama. Uchiha Kagami said slowly. Using the impure world reincarnation method and obtaining the freedom and overbearing immortal technique through the teachings of my elder brother will save a lot of time. Resurrection Senju Hashirama, are you serious? Orochimaru was shocked. Don't blame him for making a fuss out of a molehill. There is no way, although Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara are both legends in the ninja world. But there is only one god of ninja. In terms of influence on the ninja world, the one with the greatest influence is still Senju Hashirama. After all, the ninja world now has a system of 1 village and 1 country. And subsequent developments are actually the source of Senju Hashirama. And now Kagami actually wanted to resurrect Senju Hashirama with impure world reincarnation, which made him a little shocked, but he soon recovered. Just to learn senjutsu. Mirror. You are not that kind of person. I think you must have other purposes for resurrecting Senju Hashirama. Orochimaru said hoarsely. Of course, but it will be kept secret for now. Jing said. Then can I witness it with my own eyes? Although I am not a fan of Senju Hashirama, I am still the god of ninja. I still want to see it. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth. Okay, no problem. You're not the only one. I plan to ask Minato to come too. After all, it's such a big thing. The fourth Hokage needs to be informed as well. Uchiha Kagami thought for a while and said, but this guy has just taken office, he may not have time to come. I'll go and ask him first. Also, the two quickly made up their minds. In the blink of an eye, we arrived at the office in the Hokage building. Minato was busy writing and busy processing countless documents, but when he saw the mirror coming, he still stood up respectfully. Teacher. Daughter, you here? It's okay, there's no need to get up. You go about your business first and we'll sit down for a while. Okay, teacher. Mirror and Orochimaru were sitting on the chairs. Minato got busy again. After an hour or two, he took a break and stretched, feeling a soreness in his waist. Ouch, it hurts so much. It's so hard to be a Hokage. I have hair loss and back pain. Hee, luckily I was smart enough to retire after a few years. Sure enough, this Hokage is not a job for humans. Orochimaru chuckled. Uchiha Kagami coughed a few times. Minato, you have to balance work and rest. Sitting all the time will cause lumbar disc bulging. During the break, you can go out for a walk. It's not okay for you to have a broken waist at such a young age. Kushina can't explain it, you know. I understand, thank you teacher for your concern. Minato felt embarrassed. What did you two say? It's nothing, it's just that Kushina and Minato are planning to have a baby these days, but Minato is too busy and is exhausted when he goes home at night. I guess he is too exhausted to do so. Teacher, stop talking, please stop talking. Minato blushed. Good guy, can you talk about this kind of thing? The key here is that there is an outsider like Orochimaru. If the master and apprentice are normal, forget it, he is also a Hokage after all. Teacher, give me some face. Uchiha Kagami also finished the order, walked over and whispered, okay, I won't say it anymore, but the reason why I told you this, is mainly because Kushina often complains that your time in bed is too short. What? Kushina told you this? Namikaze Minato was dumbfounded. Of course it's not what Kushina said to me, but what Kushina said to my family, Susu, Shisui's mother. They are best friends now. Uchiha Kagami whispered. Susu told Zifeng again, and Zifeng mentioned it to me again, but don't worry. Only my family knows about this kind of thing, and it will not be spread outside. I believe that I am a teacher. Quote. That's good, that's good. Minato felt relieved. Uchiha Kagami patted him on the shoulder, but you're not good at it. You can't satisfy your wife by paying the public salary at night, and there will be big problems in the family in the future. Let's wait until you get off work today. Come to my house and get some supplements. They are all sent by the wealthy people in Hyuga. They are very effective in replenishing the kidneys. I have already tried them. Ah, this, teacher, isn't it good? Okay, I'm sorry. Remember to take it away tonight. Thank you teacher. You're welcome, I'm one of my own family. Uchiha Kagami smiled gently. He showed a satisfied look. Minato, this kid just doesn't have any good intentions. What he said just now was actually false. How could he know about such a private matter? The reason why he asked. It's because this year it seems that the protagonist Naruto will be born. But several days had passed since the beginning of the year, and there was still no movement from the two couples. He was worried that Minato was not doing well. Sure enough, Minato was tricked out with just a few words. This young man, it's still too simple. After chatting about household matters, we started talking about serious matters. After listening to this, Namikaze Minato pondered for a moment and said, Resurrection of Lord First Hokage. I also want to witness it. But teacher, I haven't finished my work here yet, I'm afraid it will be late at night. No problem, I'll wait for you. It's just tonight. I just happen to have big brother. Come to my house and have a bullwhip hot pot together. Jing said with a smile. Ahem, it's not impossible. Minato blushed. Quote. That's it for the three of us. As for the others, they had no intention of inviting them. After all, the resurrection of Senju Hashirama needs to be concealed for the time being, and Kagami also needs Senju Hashirama to hide in the dark. To prevent sudden changes. After all, the plot has changed, and an unknown masked man has appeared. Although Uchiha Madara is dead, who knows when he will be resurrected, and Senju Hashirama is a trump card. Therefore, the fewer people who know, the better. At night, in the basement of the Uchiha clan leader. A white Zetsu was tied up by Orochimaru, and this was the sacrifice. Namikaze Minato has no sympathy for this kind of creature. If it were a human being, maybe it would be different. Teacher, is there any difference between white Zetsu and dirt? Minato asked curiously. The strength of the ninjas produced by different sacrifices is different, and white Zetsu will make Senju Hashirama stronger, plus Orochimaru has improved Impure World reincarnation. Uchiha Kagami said with a sharp look in his eyes. Then this Impure World reincarnation will bring Senju Hashirama's strength infinitely closer to its heyday. It seems that you are going to filth yourself. Orochimaru said hoarsely. Yes, there will definitely be misunderstandings when Senju Hashirama has just been resurrected. We need someone to forcibly control him. I can only do it. Are you ready? All right. Minato and Orochimaru stood ready. Uchiha Kagami had already prepared Hashirama's flesh and blood, and raised his hand to press it to the ground. Impure World reincarnation. Ah! White Zetsu screamed in pain. The whole person was wrapped in countless confetti, looking extremely terrifying. The next second, the face of the ninja god was revealed. There were a few cracks on his face, and his dark eyes were filled with aura. He looked at himself up and down, his eyes full of vigilance. Where is this? Who are you? You stole Tobirama's reanimation jutsu. This is Konoha. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Uchiha Kagami. I used to be a guard of the second Hokage. Oh, what about the Tobirama people? My second brother has been dead for several years. Dead? Well, it's normal. After all, it may have been many years. Wait, what did you call just now? Second brother. Senju Hashirama scratched his head. Yes, Senju Tobirama is my second brother, and you are my eldest brother. It was during the previous battle with Cloud Shinobi Village. I was lucky enough to awaken Mangekyō and save me. He recognized me as a brother. Kagami said straightforwardly. No, absolutely impossible. Although Senju Hashirama is naive, he is not stupid and his eyes are sharp. Tobirama is very repulsive to the Uchiha clan, and it can even be said to be disgusting. How can he recognize you as a brother? The second Hokage guard is nonsense. What is your purpose? Could it be that you plan to resurrect me to harm Konoha? Sure enough, Tobirama was right to guard against you, but I was too naive. Uchiha, who is born evil, I will end you now. You think I'm lying to you? Jing frowned. Otherwise, Tobirama will never recognize Uchiha as his brother. Senju Hashirama looked at the other two people with sharp eyes. There are two of you, a yellow-haired boy, and the other looks like a villain with snake eyes. You don't look like a good person at first glance. The young man of Uchiha, my strength is beyond your control, and Impure World reincarnation is also risky. I will punish you and make you understand that Konoha is inviolable. Drink. Senju Hashirama gave a low drink. A blue light glowed on his body, activating his chakra. Click, click, amazing chakra waves spread out. The entire basement trembled, and the floor suddenly cracked. What an amazing chakra, is this the god of ninja? Orochimaru and Namikaze Minato's pupils tightened. The two people immediately shrank behind the mirror, squinting their eyes and hiding. It seems, some measures need to be taken. Uchiha Kagami smiled lightly. But not to be outdone, all the chakra in the body was mobilized. Boom! The chakra waves of the two collided. The basement was shaking continuously, the floor was almost completely broken, and it was about to collapse completely. At this time, suddenly, Anbu's anxious voice came from outside. Someone is attacking. Quick, protect Lord Hokage. Master Jing, are you okay? Do you need our support? No need, it's not an attack. Sensei and Orochimaru are just having a quarrel, please get out. Didn't wait for Jing to say anything. Minato immediately made a solemn voice. The Anbu around him breathed a sigh of relief and then left quietly. If it were before, they may also doubt whether it is true or false. But these Anbu are all veterans. They have experienced quarrels between Mirror and second Hokage, and the Hokage building has been collapsed several times. This was all a small scene, so Anbu left. Senju Hashirama noticed a word and stopped the chakra fluctuation. He looked at the yellow-haired boy in front of him and looked him up and down with strange eyes. Are you a Hokage? What generation of Hokage are you from? Fourth Hokage. My name is Namikaze Minato and this is my sensei. Namikaze Minato explained. He did not lie. Second-generation master does regard my teacher as his biological brother, and he is also the only Uchiha trusted by Master Tobirama. Konoha is very different now from the past. Oh, that's how it is. Senju Hashirama scratched his head. He looked at Orochimaru again and asked uncertainly, so who are you? Orochimaru said hoarsely. I am the former third Hokage, the chief scientist of Konoha, and the number one scientist in the ninja world, Orochimaru, a disciple of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Ah, I'm Monkey's student. It seems there was a misunderstanding, ha ha ha. I'm sorry. Senju Hashirama looked at the mirror again, and said a little embarrassedly, and you, Uchiha Kagami. Actually, I have no prejudice against the Uchiha family. It's all because of Tobirama who keeps telling me that Uchiha is evil. Ahem, this kid influenced me. I actually didn't think you were a bad person, ha ha ha. Sorry, you look like a good person at first glance. I just didn't realize it. It doesn't matter. Uchiha Kagami doesn't care. Yes, beat him hard. Jing suppressed a smile. Minato. Orochimaru. Ah, I knew it. Tobirama. No, I'm still a little short of it. I'm still short of infinite immortal technique. Huh, what? He is the god of ninjas. If he has scheming intentions, he is still the god of ninjas. Tisk tisk, 6 is still your number 6. Uchiha Kagami explained. So one of the reasons why I resurrected you, brother, is actually to hope that you will teach me. I have a good talent. I should learn it quickly. Okay, you really don't take what I said at first to heart. When I have the opportunity in the future, I will definitely beat him up. I also tried to stop my second brother at the time, but my second brother was arbitrary and didn't listen to me. I didn't have any position at the time, so I had no choice but to do this. Senju Hashirama was furious, clenching his fists and saying, this kid has no moral bottom line. After I die. How dare he blaspheme my soul like this? But it is precisely because of this. Yes, Katsuyu Sage told me that you combined the 3 major senjutsu to create almost the most perfect senjutsu, but I am too slow to study it alone. I also formed an impure world reincarnation unit, estimated to number several hundred people. Uchiha Kagami coughed a few times and said, this was all the second brother's idea after your death. He thought that this could effectively lose young ninjas and contribute to the future prosperity of Konoha, and he didn't care about blaspheming the soul. Quote. Senju Hashirama was a little angry. You just blasphemed my soul and resurrected me. This Tobirama technique is not for you to use like this. This is too immoral. Fortunately, only me was resurrected. If there were more resurrected. Senju Hashirama took a deep breath and said, but the chakra you made just now is also amazing. It is on par with mine. No, maybe even more than mine. It seems that you have fulfilled Tobirama's expectations of you. Quote. Senju Hashirama saw the armor on Jing's body again, touched his chin and said, this armor of yours, seems to be mine, right? Where did it come from? Just for infinite immortal technique. My second brother gave it to me on my birthday. He said he hoped I could surpass you. Jing replied. Well, it's all the second brother's fault, it has nothing to do with me. Now that the second generation is dead, it has no evidence to prove it, and it is crazy to blame it, right? In other words, he doesn't have as sharp a mind as Senju Tobirama, and he doesn't have much direct thoughts. Brother, you're already dead, how could he get your consent? Jing said angrily. Haha, yes, infinite immortal technique, have you been to Shigu Forest? Hashirama raised his eyebrows slightly. That's a dog thief, Danzo. Good guy, didn't you mention this at the time? Oh, it seems that Tobirama values you very much. He even gave this to you. But, this guy just gave me my armor without my consent. He really doesn't take his elder brother seriously, Humph. Hashirama pouted. Actually, the village is already using it extensively. Jing said awkwardly. Although Senju Hashirama is powerful, he lacks brains. Senju Hashirama was about to get angry. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.